Chapter 182. This time, Li Chuchen was a lot more enthusiastic, quickly summoned a few spirit beasts, and placed the injured female cultivators on their back. The group didn't waste any time and quickly headed towards the camp marked on the map. After running for several hours, the female cultivators' wounds haven't healed yet, so even sitting on their spirit beasts made them look like they were in a lot of pain. Their bodies were bleeding again. Gu Qingshan couldn't help but call for them to stop. The sky was already dark. Gu Qingshan looked around, found a place where there was no wind, and began to place a common formation plate. Without a formation user, they can only use single-use formation plates to arrange defensive formations. He told everyone, "Let's do this for today. If we run around at night, there will be casualties if we run into an ambush. Let's rest and leave tomorrow morning. Li Chuchen, have the spirit beasts on guard. By Haidong, arrange some traps around the camp. Zhang Fang is quite strong, go with him and be careful. The female cultivators are to heal their wounds." Seeing that he had arranged everything in an orderly manner, everyone left to carry out the order with peace of mind. After the male cultivators left, Gu Qingshan turned around and asked Lu Qingyan, "Can you tell me more about it? How did the camp's formation plates break?" Lu Qingyan carefully thought about it and answered, "Now that I think about it, it was the two most important defensive formations that broke first, because the other formations were still fine. No one paid too much attention to them." Gu Qingshan asked, "Was there a formation user in the camp?" "There was, but the formation user was too drunk at the time. No matter how much we tried to wake him up." "What about the formation user?" "After the camp was breached, he was executed by the camp's general. When he was killed, did he wake up?" "He did. He said he didn't wake up. He was screaming that he was innocent, but at that time, everyone was angry at him. The general's decision to execute him was in accordance with military law. No one begged for mercy." Gu Qingshan's eyes glowed brightly. "Very well, you can rest now. Thank you for saving us. It's nothing, no need to take it to heart." As soon as they finished talking, Li Chuchen came back. "What are you guys talking about?" he asked casually. Lu Qingyan opened his mouth and was about to say something, but Gu Qingshan transmitted her voice to him. "We're talking about what to do if my pauldron is broken." Lu Qingyan was a quick-witted person. Her thoughts quickly turned, then she sighed and said, "We were talking about Senior Marshal Brother Gu's shoulder armor is broken. What should we do?" In her heart, Gu Qingshan was a disciple of the sage, a close friend of her senior sister, and had even saved her life. Naturally, she was trustworthy. The other party must have his reasons for being so cautious, so he might as well go along with what he said. Li Chuchen praised. "When Sword 15 kills demons, he's like a mad tiger, truly worthy of respect." Gu Qingshan didn't answer. Instead, she tapped her storage bag and took out a big black pot. At this time, Bai Haidong and Zhang Fang also came back. Seeing this scene, Zhang Fang asked curiously, "What is this?" Making dinner, Gu Qingshan changed the topic. "Senior Marshal Brother prepared some spirit cooking that can be eaten as soon as it's hot. You're in for a treat," Bai Haidong asked. "Your Senior Marshal Brother, Zhualang Young Master Qin Shaolu?" Gu Qingshan answered. "That's right." Li Chuchen gulped, muttering. "So it's him, then we're in for a treat." Everyone cooked the spirit cooking in the pot, then scooped out a few bowls for each person. Zhang Fang carried a bowl to Lu Qingyan, telling her, "You're all injured, eat more." "Thank you." Lu Qingyan blushed a bit, barely managed to lift her hand to receive the bowl. She was the one with the lightest injury, but she still couldn't even lift her hand. Not to mention the female cultivators, a few of them couldn't even sit up. In such a situation, they could only rest for the night, then decide what to do next. Everyone silently ate the spirit cooking. After resting for a bit, Gu Qingshan began to arrange the night watch. "Li Chuchen and I will be on guard for the first half of the night. Zhang Fang and Bai Haidong will be on guard for the second half," everyone responded. Gu Qingshan's way of doing things was straightforward, even leading the charge when killing the demons without any hesitation. Since he said so, No one had any objections. There are 2 people in each group, how should we split them? Bai Haidong asked. 1 person at the front and back of the camp, 1 person at a time, no one is allowed to leave their post. If anything happens, immediately report it. After all, we have so many injured people, everyone needs to be serious, Gu Qingshan said. If anyone violates this rule, I will punish them according to military law, he added, his tone stern. Yes. Everyone nodded in unison. Among the cultivators here, his military rank was the highest, and since he was assigned a reasonable mission, according to the Cultivator Alliance's military rules, everyone must listen to his orders. Night fell. After a day of running around with their lives on the line, the female cultivators were all sitting down to rest. Zhang Fang gathered his courage, went to talk to Lu Qingyan for a bit, then returned with a flushed face. He crossed his legs and comfortably entered a meditative state. Bai Haidong's communication talisman seemed to be talking to someone. After discussing with Li Chuchen, Gu Qingshan and Gu Qingshan both left the camp and stood guard at the front and back. Gu Qingshan silently leaned against a large rock, thinking about what happened today. It should be a coincidence, it shouldn't be as I thought. After all, there's still half a year before the game starts. If it was as he had guessed at this point in time, then it could only be said that the world had gone crazy. While he was thinking, he took a look at the war god UI. Gu Qingshan, soul points, war god UI loves to fight, loves to win against the strong. That's right, Gu Qingshan is only a foundation establishment early stage cultivator. As long as it's the same as today, fighting against foundation establishment middle stage, or even late stage demons, his soul points will increase by leaps and bounds. He was wearing a Shao-Chi armor, which was a rare and good defensive equipment even among the humankind. In a battle formation, it could greatly defend against the attacks of spirit creatures. And the earth sword in his hand carries several tens of thousands of tons of force, combined with his own secret art, he's unstoppable within the horde of demons. This is one of the 6 arts. Smithing gives a cultivator a boost. A sword cultivator is a fighting profession that only knows how to kill. With reliable defensive equipment and sharp swords, the offensive power that sword cultivators could unleash was much stronger than other cultivators. Looking at the war god UI, Gu Qingshan relaxed a bit. I need to increase my cultivation right now. With this much soul points, I can practice the foundation establishment scripture that Shifu gave me. Compared to EXP, soul points are much stronger because it requires less to level up, and after leveling up, my spirit energy is full. If it's EXP, the amount of monsters Gu Qingshan killed right now isn't even enough to level up once. Most importantly, soul points will help Gu Qingshan fully understand the next realm, smoothly breaking through and becoming a real cultivator. While EXP directly increases a player's level, it seems convenient, but it's only a crude way to increase a player's strength, and the player doesn't know the source of their power. Because they don't know anything about cultivation, they only have power, so in the end, no player was able to break through to Sainted Realm. This was the experience that players learned from their painful experiences in the past life. Many people lost their realms to train from the beginning, but before they could even grow, humanity was already defeated. Gu Qingshan silently stared at the war god UI, thinking for a long time. Suddenly, he tapped his inventory bag and took out a jade tag. As soon as the jade tag was in his hand, a line of glowing text appeared on the war god's skills. Discovered improved super presence concealment script. Spend 10 soul points to learn it? Who would have thought that Qin Shaolu would give me the scripture that I need the most right now? The situation at the front lines is hard to predict. Learning this scripture, after breaking through later, I'll be able to hide my strength so that others won't be able to determine my true realm. Chapter 184. If all his worries are for naught, that's for the best. At most he'll just waste 10 soul points to learn an impractical scripture. But if something unexpected happens, presence concealment is actually a backup plan. Learn, Ting. The user has learned the improved version of Super Presence Concealment script. Remaining soul points. A warm flow came from the Jade tag and gathered at Gu Qingshan's thought sea. He's completely learned the improved version of Super Presence Concealment script. This scripture is very simple, there aren't any stages, as long as he's learned it, he's learned it. Gu Qingshan tried it a bit and found that he can mimic Qi training stage 1, the effect of presence concealment is quite good. That's good, now he can increase his cultivation. He silently put the Jade tag away, then took out Shifu's 100 Saints Core Formation script and spent 40 soul points to comprehend the Foundation Establishment Intermediate Stage scripture once. With 270 soul points left, he's completely learned the Foundation Establishment Intermediate Stage scripture. Now he can start breaking through. With Gu Qingshan's spirit energy capacity, it's more than enough to break through Foundation Establishment Intermediate Stage. Just to be safe, he took out a spirit energy replenishing pill and swallowed it all at once. While breaking through, he still needs to be vigilant to avoid being disturbed by any accidents and becoming demonic. He put his hand on the spirit beast bag, thought for a bit, then let go. Tapping his inventory bag, Gu Qingshan took out the formation plate he always carries with him. As he infused his spirit energy into the formation plate, a small vigilance formation was formed. For some reason, he sighed as he held the formation plate. Preparing early is better than not preparing at all. As he thought that, Gu Qingshan looked at the War God UI. A piece of information appeared on the Skills of the God of War tab. Common Defensive Formation Plate, able to release Vigilance Formation, Wind Spirit Formation, number of uses. 30 to comprehend Wind Spirit Formation, 12 soul points required, would you like to comprehend it? Yes. The user has learned how to arrange Wind Spirit Formation. As the remaining soul points flowed, Gu Qingshan quickly understood how to arrange this beginner formation. Holding the formation plate in hand, he arranged another Wind Spirit Formation. The range of the dual Wind Spirit Formation was very large. It could observe the movements in all directions. If there was any abnormality, the cultivator would have enough time to react. With the support of the Windling spell formation, even if something unexpected happened, Gu Qingshan could immediately stop her breakthrough and get ready for battle. After finishing this, Gu Qingshan began to break through to the next realm. He crossed his legs, closed his eyes, and began to break through on the spot. An hour later, he opened his eyes. The spiritual aura on his body grew brighter and brighter. He had already reached the middle stage of Foundation Establishment. However, Gu Qingshan used the breath-concealing spell to reduce the fluctuation of her spiritual power back to the early stage of Foundation Establishment. Middle stage Foundation Establishment. 30% more spiritual force, just as I thought. Gu Qingshan felt the change in the spiritual power in her dantian. She activated the breath-concealing technique and controlled the spiritual power fluctuations she released to the early stage of the Foundation Establishment realm. Then, continue to break through to the late stage of Foundation Establishment. The amount of soul power required to break through to the late stage of Foundation Establishment directly increased from 40 to 80 points, doubling. But even so, compared to the past life, players used EXP to level up much faster. Gu Qingshan directly used 80 soul points to completely memorize the Foundation Establishment Realm late stage cultivation method in his mind. He had 178 soul points left. At this moment, he was like a Foundation Establishment Realm late stage cultivator, with the corresponding realm and understanding. The only difference was that his spiritual force value had dropped to the middle stage of Foundation Establishment. It was like a cup full of water suddenly turned into a basin, and the basin found that it still had a lot of space to fill it. What else is there to say? I'll just take a pill to replenish my spiritual force. Gu Qingshan tapped his inventory bag, took out the top-grade pill that 100 Flowers Fairy prepared and swallowed it. At the same time, he used the breath-concealing spell to calm down the increasing spirit energy fluctuations. On the surface, he was still a Foundation Establishment Realm early-stage cultivator. But inside Gu Qingshan's body, the rapidly increasing spirit energy was like an underground river, silently filling every inch of his body. 1 hour later, Gu Qingshan had become a Foundation Establishment Realm late-stage cultivator. But as soon as he broke through, he spat out a mouthful of blood as well as his pores. His meridians were all swollen and uncomfortable. His dantian also felt a bit of pain. His thought-sea felt like someone was hitting it with a giant hammer. This kind of crazy continuous breakthroughs is extremely dangerous. Even if he succeeds, it still affects the cultivator quite a bit. It was only because Gu Qingshan had the experience from his past life, as well as war god skills, that helped him fully understand the saint's cultivation method, that his spirit energy didn't flow backwards and explode. If it was anyone else, even if they were a monstrous genius, they would still try to break through a second time every few days. But in the next 2 days, humanity will definitely start the decisive battle, so Gu Qingshan doesn't have the time. I can only take a risk. He sighed slightly and swallowed another high-quality, healing pill. Trying to rush things isn't a good thing. After this crazy breakthrough, he will have to spend more time to heal his body and get used to his realm. If it weren't for the strange situation that reminded him of the bad things that happened in his past life, he really wouldn't want to break through like this. At this time, a notification popped up on War God Skills. Due to the user continuously breaking through, comprehension of cultivation scriptures has entered a cooldown period. Continuing to replenish soul points will reduce the cooldown period. It didn't say how long the cooldown period would be, but Gu Qingshan understood it very well. In the end, I still need to fight. What the war god UI encourages the most is fighting. Half an hour later, Gu Qingshan opened his eyes and looked at the small camp behind him. The concealment formation and defensive formation are both still open, so they're probably resting. The surging spirit energy inside his body has calmed down and is under control. Gu Qingshan looked around again. In the middle of the night, the desolate wilderness was illuminated by the moonlight, like a sea of moonlight. Why is there no peace in this beautiful world? The wind started to pick up, the moonlight became hazy and finally disappeared from the sky. A thick layer of dark clouds blocked the moonlight, plunging the earth and sky into darkness. The wind started to pick up in the wilderness. The howling wind made it impossible for anyone to hear anything in the night. Unable to see, unable to hear. If something really is about to happen, now would be the best time to do so. Gu Qingshan grabbed the void of space and held the earth sword in his hand. Is there something coming? 1 breath, 5 breath, 10 breath, 20 breath, 30 breath. Time slowly passed. Gu Qingshan suddenly held his breath. His divine telekinesis sensed that something had moved on the barren land a few 100 feet away from the large bluestone. That thing was very careful, silently stopping outside the wind spirit formation, as if waiting for something. Gu Qingshan leaned against the blue rock to stand up, adjusting his sword grip. In the next second, the piece of land moved again, but this time, it was moving forward. What's coming? Gu Qingshan squinted his eyes, carefully retracting his killing intent without revealing a single bit. He silently jumped on top of the blue rock, checked his direction, then jumped up high with the earth sword. A second later, he lightly swung the earth sword. With a sharp sword phantom, he struck the ground. Come out! He bellowed. Boom! That thing couldn't take the pain and jumped back, then came out from the ground, revealing its true appearance. Its body was several dozen meters long, as thick as a person. Its brown skin was covered in sharp spikes, its mouth was full of poisonous fangs. This was a Foundation establishment late-stage burrowing demon python, evolved from a burrowing demon snake. Chapter 186. The burrowing demon python can be said to be one of the hardest Foundation realm demon beasts to deal with. Sword cultivator, how did you find me? The burrowing demon python spat out a mouthful of poisonous mist and angrily asked. Working together with demons isn't a good thing. You'll lose your mind after a while. Why don't you become a spirit beast, senior? Gu Qingshan tried to persuade it. The burrowing demon python circled around Gu Qingshan, saying, I also want to become a spirit beast, but sadly, as a spirit beast, I won't have any human flesh to eat. Gu Qingshan looked at the camp behind him in surprise, but there's still no movement. Strange, such a big commotion, why isn't anyone coming out? Before he could think, the burrowing demon python had already attacked. Poison sprayed everywhere. Gu Qingshan couldn't help but retreat. The burrowing demon python didn't let him go. As one person and one serpent fought, they were getting further and further away from the camp. Gu Qingshan looked at his position, blinked and went back to the camp's entrance. Sly sword cultivator, the burrowing demon python spoke in a low voice. Poof! All of a sudden, the camp burst into flames. Oh no! Gu Qingshan's expression changed, about to turn around, but the burrowing demon python had already attacked him. The burrowing demon python's body is filled with poison. He has no choice but to block it. Gu Qingshan had no choice but to turn around to face it. The sword phantoms on his sword were getting brighter and brighter, ready to unleash a powerful attack at any moment. Strangely, the burrowing demon python was circling around him, occasionally preparing to attack, but carefully kept its distance and didn't actually attack him. Gu Qingshan was estimating the distance between them. At this distance, he can't even use ground shrink. Staying so far away from me, is it stalling for time? Gu Qingshan understood, swung his sword phantoms to force it back, then ran back to the camp. Seeing that, the burrowing demon python suddenly jumped forward, spitting out poison to block Gu Qingshan's path. It wants to stop me from going back to save him. Gu Qingshan understood. He took out the night rain and activated it. Shifting flurry. Shifting flurry. Chaotic dance. 30 arrows turned into flying shadows and shot toward the burrowing ghost python. The burrowing ghost python did not expect the other party to have long-range combat abilities. Caught off guard, it was struck by the arrows and screeched in pain. Gu Qingshan's hands didn't stop moving. In one breath, she used up a whole quiver of arrows. The burrowing ghost python rolled on the ground, not daring to attack again. Forget it. That sword was too powerful. There was no benefit in risking his life. Anyway, the mission had been completed. When this sword cultivator was the only one left, it wouldn't be too late to deal with him then. As the burrowing ghost python thought about it, it quietly retreated. Gu Qingshan rushed into the camp and saw 2 burrowing ghost pythons in the narrow camp. Zhang Fang stood in front of the female cultivators, his body covered in blood. The valiant cavalry armor on his body was still intact, but a few poisonous thorns had pierced deep into the gaps of the armor, and blood was flowing out. Bai Haidong lay on the ground, vomiting blood. Gu Qingshan gritted her teeth, anger rising in her heart. Die! He suddenly disappeared and reappeared next to one of the burrowing ghost python's head, pointing the earth sword at its head. The earth sword and he became one, turning into a large white crescent sword phantom. Sha! The burrowing ghost python's head was cut off, leaving only its long body, twitching and rolling on the ground. The other burrowing ghost python opened its mouth to spit out a poisonous cloud, but Gu Qingshan took advantage of that and shot a demon-slaying arrow straight into the python's mouth, piercing through its head and out. Even though the 2 pythons were dead, Gu Qingshan didn't even bother to look at them. She turned around and helped Zhang Fang sit down. Gu Qingshan tapped her inventory bag, quickly took out a pill and put it in Zhang Fang's mouth. Antidote pill, eat it quickly, he said. Zhang Fang pushed his hand away, saying, It's too late, the poison has already entered her veins. I've been holding on, waiting for you to come back, now she doesn't have to die. He turned around, looking at Lu Qingyan with nostalgia and sighed. Ha, but how did I die? Saying so, his head slowly drooped down, his body silently froze in place, no longer breathing. His spirit energy waves stopped. Lu Qingyan stared at him blankly, tears silently flowing down her cheeks. The other female cultivators also started to cry. Gu Qingshan grabbed Bai Haidong and shouted, "Where's Li Chuchen?" "I don't see him," Bai Haidong breathed heavily. Gu Qingshan scanned him with her inner sight, then put a pill in his mouth. "Where did these two burrowing ghost pythons come from?" Gu Qingshan asked. "From the front of the camp," Lu Qingyan wiped her tears and answered. "The front of the camp?" Hearing that, Gu Qingshan almost froze on the spot. He was guarding the back of the camp, while Li Chuchen was guarding the front. "Aren't there an alarm formation and a defensive formation? You didn't prepare anything at all?" "The formation is broken again, just like Water Valley Camp," Lu Qingyan cried. Gu Qingshan quickly walked over, picked up the camp's formation plates, and carefully looked at them. The formation plates were all slightly damaged. Not a lot, but enough to disrupt the formation's normal operation. Gu Qingshan took out a few new formation plates and rearranged them. "The formation has been rearranged. All of you stay where you are, don't move, I'll kill anyone who moves." Saying so, he headed towards the front of the camp. At the front of the camp, the field of vision was vast and endless. It was because this place was easy to guard that Gu Qingshan gave it to Li Chuchen. As Gu Qingshan came out, she looked around. The vegetation on the field was still intact, and there was no poisonous fog in the air. Releasing her inner sight to scan the area, she couldn't sense any spirit energy nearby. There was no battle at all. In other words, Li Chuchen didn't do anything and just ran away. Gu Qingshan just stood there blankly, not saying a word. From afar, Li Chuchen staggered back. "We were lured away," Li Chuchen breathed heavily. "What's the situation?" "Zhang Fang is dead," Gu Qingshan answered. "What?" Li Chuchen showed a shocked expression. "Go say goodbye to him," Gu Qingshan sighed. "Ha, that monster is too powerful, just one touch and he'll die. How could he be so careless?" Li Chuchen shook his head regretfully. He quickly walked into the camp, followed by Gu Qingshan. The two of them walked into the camp, standing in front of Zhang Fang's corpse. Li Chuchen sighed and was about to say something, only to see Gu Qingshan draw his sword and stabbed him through the chest. Within 5 steps, when a sword cultivator suddenly attacks and kills, not many people of the same realm can defend against that. Not to mention a sword cultivator like Gu Qingshan. Li Chuchen opened his eyes wide, clutching his sword in disbelief, kneeling on the ground. "Why did you?" he asked. Gu Qingshan's face was expressionless. "I'm a Shaoqi, you're a Yu Wu. I ordered you to guard the front, yet you ran away without permission during the march. Disobeying my orders is the same as harming everyone. According to military law, you should be executed. Pay with your life." Saying so, Gu Qingshan chopped off his head. The corpse fell to the ground. Gu Qingshan didn't care about everyone's fear, searched around the headless corpse, and found a few spirit beast bags. Holding the spirit beast bags, he had a strange expression on his face. "You stay here, I'm going to look for clues." Chapter 188. "Wait, I'm coming as well." Lu Qingyan bit her lip and barely managed to stand up. Gu Qingshan turned around, saw the pain in her beautiful eyes and spoke very seriously. "No, you're not allowed to come, stay here and rest up." Ignoring her disappointment, he left the camp alone and stood in front of an empty field. Picking up a spirit beast bag, Gu Qingshan infused his spirit energy into it. A fiery red fox appeared. Seeing a stranger, the fox wanted to speak. "Li Chang and violated military orders, so I've already killed him. Right now I'm looking for an accomplice, you obviously aren't one. Please return to the spirit beast bag," Gu Qingshan spoke. Hearing that, the fox rolled his eyes and said, "If he's dead, then I'll return to Spirit Beast Sect by myself." "No, you're a spirit beast, you can't move without permission," Gu Qingshan continued. "I'll use the fastest way to send the Spirit Beast Bag back to the cultivator of Spirit Beast Sect. Please return to the Spirit Beast Bag." The fox didn't listen to her and turned around to run, saying, "I'll go by myself." Always carrying it inside the Spirit Beast Bag is really, a cold gleam. Flash. The fox suddenly jumped back, but was caught by the cold gleam and slashed into a rain of blood. Gu Qingshan threw the Spirit Beast Bag away. He then opened the rest of the Spirit Beast Bags. A blue-eyed tiger and a few other non-combat type spirit beasts looked at Gu Qingshan. "What happened?" the blue-eyed tiger asked. "Nothing, just looking for the culprit of the camp attack." "What were originally inside these Spirit Beast Bags?" Gu Qingshan looked at them and asked. He was also holding a few more Spirit Beast Bags, but they were all empty. "You'll have to ask our master. We've been staying inside the Spirit Beast Bag all this time. We don't know what other spirit beasts he took in." Saying so, the blue-eyed tiger looked at the fox's body. It evaluated Gu Qingshan, then exchanged glances with the other spirit beasts. "All right, go back to the Spirit Beast Bags." Seeing that she couldn't get anything out of them, Gu Qingshan said. The spirit beasts fell silent and returned to their respective spirit beast pouches. Bai Haidong and a few female cultivators stayed in the camp. They were still in shock when Gu Qingshan came back. Gu Qingshan said with a heavy heart, "Let's take a rest and continue our journey during the day." Nothing unexpected happened on the second day. The group moved forward carefully and arrived at the camp at noon. When he arrived, he realized that the place was already overcrowded. Two enforcers immediately stepped forward and led them to the camp's main tent. In the main tent, a general took the military orders from Gu Qingshan and the others and examined their waist tokens. This general wore a blue Taoist robe, and his armor was not on. "You are Gu Qingshan?" The general squinted at him. "I am," Gu Qingshan answered. "Do you know who I am?" "Judging from your attire, you must be from the Azure Cloud sect." The general leaned back on his chair, looking at him with a meaningful look. "I am Azure Cloud sect's Wu Xingwen, in charge of this battle's rewards and punishments," Wu Xingwen said. "Ah? So you're a Ding Yuan general?" Gu Qingshan acted like she didn't understand what he meant and asked. "General ranks are divided into 4 ranks, from lowest to highest. They are Yuji, Dingyuan, Yongzhen, and Shinwei. Gongsun was a Dingyuan general, while Ning Yuechan wore the golden armor and was a Yuji general. The only Yongzhen general of the current era died in the last battle, so the highest-ranking general of humanity right now is a Dingyuan general. Gu Qingshan, I remember you did quite well during the semester examination." Wu Xingwen looked at her and continued. "I did, I killed one of your people. What are you trying to say?" Gu Qingshan was impatient. "If you have the ability, then use it. If you don't, then just say something to scare people. Do you really think I'm a greenhorn who hasn't seen the world?" Wu Xingwen paused, then suddenly slammed the table and shouted. "The number of people you originally had doesn't match up with the actual number of people here. What was the delay?" "Delay? During a military mission, once you're labeled as a delay, you'll be punished." Gu Qingshan coldly laughed, not accepting this accusation. He said, "We didn't delay, then where are they?" Wu Xingwen asked. "They're dead. How did they die?" "One of them was killed by the demons, and the other one was executed by me according to military law." Wu Xingwen waved his hand and ordered, "Men, Heart Inquisition." Heart Inquisition is a very crucial part of military interrogation. When cultivators go out to fight against demons, as soon as they kill their own people, no matter who they are, they'll have to go through Heart Inquisition. If the other party really did violate military law, then it's fine, they might even get a reward. But if they have selfish motives and a personal grudge, purposely killing or harming others, then they'll have to pay with their life. Very quickly, a cultivator came in, sitting across from Gu Qingshan. His eyes were abnormally bright, as if he can see into the deepest part of a person's heart. "All right, speak. I'll decide for myself if you're telling the truth or not," the cultivator said casually. Gu Qingshan knows that he has a God's chosen skill that can tell if he's lying, so she told him everything. The cultivator asked a lot of questions, to which Gu Qingshan answered all of them. Finally, the cultivator nodded and told Wu Xingwen, "They're all true." Wu Xingwen looked at the cultivator in disappointment, not saying anything. The cultivator nodded again, saying, "He's not lying." Wu Xingwen then begrudgingly said, "That Li Chuchen brat, what's wrong with his head, trying to kill his own comrade?" His eyebrows were scrunched up, his face full of exhaustion and confusion. He already doesn't want to make things difficult for Gu Qingshan anymore. After all, she's 100 Flowers Fairy's disciple. Making things difficult for her is a good thing, but if he can't do it, then there's no need to force it. What he needs to worry about right now is business. Wu Xingwen muttered in a low voice, "What's going on at the front line lately? Quite a few camps are having problems with formation plates malfunctioning. Even those that are traveling like this have their formation plates malfunctioning. They can't all be traitors, right? If that's true, humanity will be in complete chaos. The decisive battle is going to happen in the next 2 days. But with the current situation, there's no need to wait for the decisive battle. As long as this news is confirmed, humanity's camp will collapse on its own. They were supposed to be preparing for the decisive battle, but with the current situation, is it still suitable to do so?" Gu Qingshan silently sat there, not saying a word. Wu Xingwen took Gu Qingshan's badge, formed a few hand seals on it, then reluctantly said, "Finding out the traitor, saving your comrade, 10 merit points." Saying so, he tossed the badge back. Gu Qingshan took the badge back and checked it with his inner sight. Inside the badge, he saw that his total merit had reached 115. She still needs 65 more to reach the 180 merit required to become a Zhenwei chaplain. "That's enough, take them to their tents." Wu Xingwen decided to ignore it, waving his hand to signal the cultivators on his left and right to chase them away. A guard cultivator led them away. Wu Xingwen stayed silent for a bit, then suddenly sighed. "Senior brother, what's the matter?" a guard cultivator asked in a low voice. Now that everyone else has left, the only ones left in the tent are his fellow disciples from Blue Cloud's Pass. Wu Xingwen shook his head, still a bit unwilling. He sighed, saying, "How pitiful, junior brother only passed last year's semester examination, but he's already gone." The cultivators exchanged glances, then went silent. Chapter 211. On the other side, Gu Qingshan's group followed the guard cultivator out. While walking, the guard cultivator asked, "Which sect are you from?" "Bai Hua sect, Yao Guang sect, Heaven's Limit sect." The guard cultivator turned around to look at the Shao Qi armor Gu Qingshan was wearing and said, "So you're Bai Hua sect's sword 15. His face warmed up a bit as he spoke. "Among us, you're the only one from Bai Hua sect. Heaven's Limit sect isn't here either, but there are a few cultivators from Yao Guang sect who just arrived yesterday." "Is there one called Ling Tianxing?" Gu Qingshan asked. "Ling Zhaowu?" "He's here," the guard cultivator said. "Do you want me to take you there? We female cultivators still haven't fully recovered from our wounds. Please arrange a place for them to rest," Gu Qingshan hurriedly said. The guard cultivator nodded and led them to a place where cultivators were gathered. The ground here was covered in stinking black blood. The cultivators were all wounded, quite a few of them were being treated, moaning and groaning in pain. As far as the eye could see, it was a scene of desolation and chaos. Gu Qingshan scowled, then clasped her fist to the guard cultivator and said, "Please help me find a better place. They're all heavily wounded and frightened on the way here. If we put them here, they won't even be able to meditate." Saying so, she stuffed a handful of spirit stones into his hand. "There's no need, Yu Ha." The guard cultivator pretended to refuse, but was pushed back by Gu Qingshan, so he put it away into his inventory bag. Thinking about it, he still had a troubled expression. There are too many people from the camp, it's a bit. The Gu Shan then took out a communication talisman and said, "This is my talisman. From now on, with this talisman, I welcome fellow Dao Seeker to visit Bai Hua sect, an invitation from Bai Hua sect." The guard cultivator couldn't do anything about it anymore. He looked at the female cultivators, only to see that their clothes were stained with blood, their faces were haggard, barely able to keep up, supporting each other as they walked. One of the frail female cultivators was still trembling. In such a state, it was indeed unjustifiable to leave him here. It would be even more troublesome if he went berserk and killed someone. The enforcer cultivator nodded subconsciously. He pondered for a moment, then said, "We're all injured while slaying demons, so we should indeed give them preferential treatment. I remember a place, come with me." The few of them followed the enforcer cultivator through the camp and arrived at a corner on the east side of the camp. The place was clean and tidy, and the clamor of the crowd could not be heard. It was rather secluded and quiet. Gu Shan sensed her surroundings and found that they were at a corner of the spirit-gathering formation, where spiritual energy was abundant and endless. The female cultivators looked at it and were very satisfied. Gu Shan thanked the enforcer cultivator. He then looked at the female cultivators and said gently, "You guys rest first. Don't think about anything else. We'll talk about other things after you've recovered." "Thank you, Brother Gu." The female cultivators all looked at him, thinking about the life and death situations they went through on the way here, feeling a bit grateful. Wang Ningxiang gave him a communication talisman. Gu Shan received it, infused it with spirit energy and heard Ning Yuechan's voice. "Tell him to send me a message when he's done." Giving the talisman back to Wang Ningxiang, Gu Shan said, "All right, I understand, I'll contact her in a bit." Gu Shan nodded to the female cultivators, then brought Bai Haidong and the enforcer cultivator outside. As he walked, he took out a communication talisman, scowled, and infused something into it with his inner sight. There was a small orchid symbol on the talisman. The female cultivators recognized it as Ning Yuechan's communication talisman from afar. Then looking at Gu Shan, he had a very serious expression on his face, as if he was talking about something very important. Even though he risked his life to save everyone from the horde of demons, protecting them all the way here, he didn't act arrogant, nor did he act like he was proud of himself. Then thinking about the male cultivators in their own sect, whenever they did something small for Ning Yuechan, they would brag about it for half a month, as if they were close to the saintess. Wang Ningxiang rested her chin on Lu Qinyan's shoulder, looked at the man's figure walking away, sighed, then carefully looked at him again. "What's wrong?" Zhang Tsuiwei and Dong Shui asked at the same time. The relationship between the sisters was quite good, so when they heard her sigh, they all showed expressions of concern. "I've always thought that the saintess' most outstanding trait was her cultivation talent," Wang Ningxiang said, "but now it seems that's not the case. Then what is it?" Dong Shui asked. "It's your eyes," Wang Ningxiang muttered. Gu Shan and Bai Haidong were walking on the camp's road, led by the enforcer cultivator. After confirming the direction, they were about to find Lung Tian Xing stop. Suddenly, a cultivator from the side of the road came to stop them. It was a young male cultivator. His eyes were bloodshot, as if he had just been crying. He glared at Gu Shan. "Did you kill Li Chuchen?" Gu Shan looked at him a bit, seeing that he was holding a beast-taming whip, as well as 4 to 5 spirit beast bags on his waist. She immediately knew who he was. "I did," Gu Shan nodded. "You damned thief!" The male cultivator was about to rush forward, but was stopped by the enforcer cultivator. "What do you want?" the enforcer cultivator sternly asked. "Why did he kill my brother?" The male cultivator shouted, "I want to avenge my brother." The enforcer cultivator glared at him, about to take out a communication talisman. Right at this time, a group of cultivators hurriedly came, some old and some young, pushed the male cultivator aside. An elder-looking cultivator came, bowed to the enforcer cultivator and said, "Please don't use talismans, please don't use talismans, he's still young, this is the first time I've brought him out, he doesn't know how the camp works." The enforcer cultivator recognized him, knowing he was an elder of Spirit Beast sect, put away the communication talisman and spoke in a low voice. "Look after him. There are no rules in the camp, if the general sees him, no one will be able to save him." The elder smiled and replied, then looked at Gu Qingshan. "Brat, which faction are you from? You're pretty ruthless," he spoke in a neutral tone. That kind of question made Gu Qingshan frown. "You don't care which faction I'm from," Gu Qingshan slowly spoke, "because one of your people was afraid of death. He ran away while guarding the camp, causing the death of one of our Shao-Chi chaplains. If we weren't a bit lucky, the 5 wounded female cultivators would also have died on the spot. That's why I beheaded him according to military law, and after the general's interrogation, there weren't any issues with the procedure." He looked at her, saying, "A deserter, I killed him, but you're talking to me like that, are you trying to use your cultivation to pressure me?" As soon as he said that, the surrounding cultivators all nodded, some even cheered. Chapter 212. Since Gu Qingshan made things clear, the cultivators all felt that he was doing the right thing. The elder saw that the other party was only a Foundation Establishment realm cultivator, so he wanted to say a few harsh words, but the other party managed to incite everyone's anger with just a few words. He couldn't help but scoff, then led his disciples away. "Brat, the mountain doesn't move, the road does," he released his rejuvenation realm spirit pressure and said without looking back. After the people of Spirit Beast sect left, Bai Haidong worriedly looked at Gu Qingshan and whispered, "You have to be careful of them." The guard cultivator also gave a rare reminder. "Spirit Beast sect's people are very vengeful, you have to be careful." "It's fine." After saying that, Gu Qingshan put this matter aside. The guard cultivator brought the 2 of them to a military tent. The 2 of them said goodbye to the guard cultivator. As soon as they left the tent, they saw Leng Tianxing. Leng Tianxing was wearing a Zhao Wu chaplain's armor, majestically talking about something. A few cultivators surrounded him, seriously and attentively listening to his orders. As Gu Qingshan looked around, she saw that there was even a Golden Core late-stage cultivator among them. The Golden Core late-stage cultivator was wearing a Run Yong chaplain's uniform, nodding as he listened to Leng Tianxing's orders. In the army, a cultivator's cultivation is only used as a reference for missions. The one who's truly in command is the cultivator with the highest military rank and the highest military contribution. The cultivator with the highest military rank doesn't necessarily have the highest cultivation, but they definitely understand demons the best, are the best at fighting, have the foresight to command, and have a lot of battle experience. If something happens, Gu Qingshan can easily kill Li Chuchen who disobeyed orders. And as long as she's interrogated, she doesn't have to take any responsibility and even gets 10 military merit. Because of that, in times of war, military rank is the most important thing. As soon as the 2 of them came in, the cultivators all turned to look. "Haidong, ah? Qingshan? Why are you here?" Leng Tianxing smiled. He quickly walked up, put his hand on Gu Qingshan's shoulder and introduced Gu Qingshan to the cultivators of Yaoguang sect. Everyone chatted animatedly. Bai Haidong recounted their experiences, and everyone sighed. "Why are you here?" Gu Qingshan asked. "It's about the same as yours. The formation plate malfunctioned and the demons just happened to attack, so we couldn't defend our camp," Leng Tianxing answered. The few of them looked at each other in silence. If the meaning behind this matter were to be revealed, no one would be able to calm down. In the face of being outnumbered, the reason why the human race was able to fight against the demons was because of the crystallization of the cultivation civilization that had evolved over tens of thousands of years. The 6 arts. Magic arrays were an important cornerstone of a cultivator's defensive system. If something went wrong with them during a war, it would be a very serious blow to the human race. Moreover, this wasn't just a blow to their defensive capabilities. It was even more of a psychological blow. What exactly caused the array disk to malfunction? The demons were all outside the camp, separated by the array. How could they rush in and destroy the array disk? Could it be a traitor? How could there be so many traitors? Once one thought about the problem deeply, one's heart would waver. Gu Qingshan went silent for a bit, then suddenly smiled. It's been a while since we've had a proper chat, how about we go out for a walk? Leng Tianxing nodded. That's perfect, I also want to go out for some fresh air. The two of them left the camp together, strolling through the barren wilderness. The sun was already out, shining warmly on their bodies. What do you think about this? Gu Qingshan asked. It's a bit hard to believe, Leng Tianxing answered. I think a lot of people are thinking the same thing as you right now. That's right, if this keeps going on and we can't find the cause of this, we won't be able to fight the decisive battle, Leng Tianxing suddenly asked. What do you think about this? Gu Qingshan squints her eyes, cupped her hand and looked up at the sun in the sky. Today's the perfect day, how about we find an excuse to go out for a walk? Leng Tianxing asked. Ah? That's what you're thinking? Gu Qingshan smiled. I don't know a lot of people, you're a Golden Core Realm cultivator as well as a Zhao Wu chaplain, if I don't look for you, who else would I look for? Leng Tianxing answered. Since you've asked, of course I have no problem. The two of them returned to the camp, looking at the mission board outside the general's tent. This is a list of normal military missions. Unless it's a newcomer or an extremely urgent mission, the general won't immediately make the necessary arrangements. At other times, other than secret missions, all other military missions are displayed here for cultivators to choose from. This situation will continue until the campaign begins. At that time, the general will accept all the missions and personally distribute them according to the cultivator's rank and rank. How about this one? Leng Tianxing pointed at a mission board. Gu Qingshan scanned the board with her inner sight. 2 cultivators are required to head north to search for demon tracks, all the way to Han Gu Pass, only then can they return. Note: military merit. 3. Thinking for a bit, Gu Qingshan couldn't help but silently praise. Leng Tianxing really is a smart person, this mission's content is normal, there's a lot of freedom, the military merit is average, so it won't attract much attention. Gu Qingshan said. I think it's a good idea. The two of them took off the mission board and reported it to the secretary's office. The guard cultivator gave the two of them the mission board, telling them, Go and return quickly, tomorrow the army will need to make arrangements to prepare for the decisive battle. If you're late, be careful of military law, don't worry, we're not deserters, Leng Tianxing smiled and said. The guard cultivator looked at their armors, changed his expression, and signed his name on the mission board. With his signature, the two of them can go and complete this mission. Gu Qingshan and Leng Tianxing thanked the guard cultivator and left the secretary's office. Let's return to Yao Guangsek's camp first, I'll tell everyone, otherwise they'll be worried for nothing if they can't find me, Leng Tianxing said. That's how it should be. Gu Qingshan nodded and said, That's perfect, let's finish dinner first before we leave. They returned to Yao Guangsek's camp and told everyone about it. Everyone was surprised, but since one of them is a Zhao Wu chaplain, the other is a Shao Qi chaplain, their ranks are higher than everyone else's, so if they want to take on a mission by themselves, no one can say anything. Bai Haidong and Gu Qingshan are already familiar with each other, so he was quite tempted by the mission. After all, this kind of mission is very simple, and there's even military merit to be earned. He turned to Gu Qingshan and said, Sword 15, how about I go with you? Gu Qingshan smiled. This mission only allows 2 people to go. If you want to go, your senior brother can't. Bai Haidong looked at Leng Tianxing and hurriedly said, Senior brother. Leng Tianxing cut him off and said, You can't, I'll go, why can't I? Bai Haidong asked. You and me, who's better? Lung Tianxing patted the Zhao Wu armor he was wearing and said. But Sword 15, he can. By Hai Dong was unwilling to give up. This is Sword 15's mission. You can't compete with me, but can you compete with him? Or do you want to steal his mission? I don't want to steal from him. Chapter 213. After dinner, Gu Qingshan and Ling Tianxing said goodbye to Yao Guangsek's people and left the camp. They moved extremely quickly, flying all the way to the north. Hangu Pass, I remember it only fell 2 days ago, Ling Tianxing recalled. It's probably being ravaged by demons right now, Gu Qingshan said. Now can you tell me what we need to do? Ling Tianxing said. I can't hide it from you, Gu Qingshan smiled. Let's go take a look at the destroyed camps, then go to Hangu Pass. Destroyed camps? Lung Tianxing opened his mouth, wanting to say there's nothing to see there, but decided against it. Yeah, let's go take a look. Maybe we'll find something, Gu Qingshan said. There's nothing but ruins, not even corpses left. They were all eaten by the demons, Ling Tianxing said. Let's go take a look, Gu Qingshan smiled and said. The two of them continued to fly, passing through mountains, swamps, forests. Only when they were about to reach a lake did they stop. Water Valley Camp? That seems to be the location of your original mission. Lung Tianxing looked at Gu Qingshan. That's right, let's be careful and slowly go take a look, Gu Qingshan said. The two of them took out their weapons. Gu Qingshan wielded the earth sword. Lung Tianxing held the jade fan, silently heading towards the camp next to Water Valley Lake. The barracks were in a mess. Apart from blood, there was only mud, and a foul smell lingered in the air. After the massacre, the demons had already left this place to fight elsewhere. Unless a high-ranking demon gives an absolute order, the demons don't have the concept of defending a base. Their minds are only filled with killing and eating humans. Wherever there's a human scent, they'll just swarm towards it. Under normal circumstances, the high-ranking demon's job is to lead them to attack human camps one by one. The two of them carefully entered the camp. Lung Tianxing pinched his nose and scowled. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have come in, Gu Qingshan recalled back in Shen Wu world. Lung Tianxing would rather die in battle than smear the rotting eater demon's eyeball on his body, so she was surprised. This kid has a serious obsession with cleanliness. He said apologetically, I'll be done quickly. You just need to be on guard. Hearing that he only needs to be on guard, Lung Tianxing silently sighed in relief. Gu Qingshan did not care about the minced flesh, broken bones, and tattered robes that were stained with blood at all. She searched through the place and was so focused that she almost forgot everything else. Lung Tianxing was silently impressed. If it was him, he definitely wouldn't take a second look. Gu Qingshan watched for half an hour before returning to Lung Tianxing's side. Wash your hands. Lung Tianxing scowled, waved his jade fan, causing a large water droplet to float in midair. Gu Qingshan used the water to wash his hands, as well as the armor on his hand. He held a few broken formation plates in his hand and spread them out like treasures. Array plate? Did you find all the problematic formation plates? Lung Tianxing asked. That's right, maybe I'll find some clues, Gu Qingshan replied. When the previous camps were destroyed, many generals and formation users tried to look through the formation plates, but couldn't find the culprit, Lung Tianxing said. Gu Qingshan said, I want to try, alright, I hope you'll succeed. When the time comes, I'll bask in your glory and get some military merit, Lung Tianxing said. That's encouragement. If it was anyone else, they might think that most of the generals couldn't find anything, but you, a Shaoqi soldier, want to look. That's a bit arrogant and self-righteous. Lung Tianxing didn't think he was arrogant at all. Instead, saying that means he's already treating him as a true friend. Gu Qingshan smiled and said, Don't worry, if I really get some military merit, I won't forget about you no matter what. He carefully cleaned and tidied up the formation plates before putting them away. Let's go to the next camp. All right, the two of them left at the same time. After running for about an hour, they finally reached their next destination. Just like that, they spent an entire night looking through many camps, looking through a lot of abandoned formation plates. After spending an entire night running around without caring about their stamina and spirit energy, the two of them were a bit tired. They found a secluded place, ate some food, and rested. Gu Qingshan took out the abandoned formation plates one by one, placing them all in the open space in front of him. He seriously looked through them. Leng Tianxing finally couldn't help himself and said, "I've already looked through these formation plates. The formation users didn't find anything wrong. I don't see the same thing as them," Gu Qingshan said as he looked through them. "Ah? How so?" Leng Tianxing was intrigued. "They're looking at formation plates, I'm not," Gu Qingshan said. He picked up a broken formation plate, looked at it for a bit, shook his head and put it down. After a while, he picked up another formation plate, looked at it again, then put it down again. "All right," Leng Tianxing sighed. "I hope you'll find something, HM?" His voice became louder. Gu Qingshan suddenly picked up a formation plate, not putting it down for a while. He carefully held the array disk, as if he was holding a rare treasure. "What is it?" Leng Tianxing asked. "It's nothing," Gu Qingshan answered. He stared at the War God UI. A line of glowing text appeared on the War God Skills tab. Hard piercing wind claw, non-human skill, unable to learn. He stared at this line of text for a long time without saying anything. A minute later, the two of them started moving again. "Right now we're using spirit beasts as our mounts," Gu Qingshan said. Leng Tianxing was a bit surprised. "Spirit beasts can't fly. Flying low is fine. We're all so tired. We need to conserve our stamina. In case there's a fight, we'll have enough strength to fight back," Gu Qingshan said with a strange expression on his face. "All right then." Leng Tianxing didn't notice Gu Qingshan's expression, thinking that what she said was reasonable. He nodded. The two of them tapped their inventory bags and let out their spirit beasts. Gu Qingshan is obviously a flame cloud-chasing sky crane, while Leng Tianxing is a giant butterfly. This giant butterfly is blue in color. It's obvious that it's a water-type spirit beast, tamed by humans to become a battle mount. A Foundation establishment late-stage demon beast? Gu Qingshan smiled and asked. "That's right, you're only Foundation establishment early stage. You're not even as good as my demon beast. You need to work hard on your cultivation," Leng Tianxing joked. The two of them got on their spirit beasts and headed towards the next camp. A few hours later. Disordered mountain camp. Gu Qingshan and Leng Tianxing stood on top of a hill, putting away their spirit beasts. They looked down. "There seems to be someone," Gu Qingshan squints her eyes. "There's someone?" "That's impossible," Leng Tianxing peeked his head out, looking towards the camp. "It's too far away, even with his eyesight, he can't see too clearly." "I do have a spirit beast that can scout," saying so, Leng Tianxing reached into his inventory bag. His hand was caught by Gu Qingshan. "No, it's a bit dangerous right now, there's no need for spirit beasts, we'll go see ourselves," Gu Qingshan said. The two of them slowly approached the camp. Chapter 214. Leng Tianxing looked ahead, muttering, "What is that thing?" Gu Qingshan's body stiffened, gritting her teeth with a serious expression. In the middle of the military camp, a black shadow was silently floating in the air. On the ground littered with bones, a long black light occasionally appeared, as if something was struggling inside the black light. The black light floated up and was absorbed into the floating black shadow's body. At first glance, this black shadow looks like the silhouette of a person. But if you look closely, the black shadow looks like countless people, as thin as paper, stacked on top of each other. The black shadow spoke in a human voice, its tone full of joy. "So many, I want more. I want more." But this voice sounded like hundreds of thousands of people of all ages and genders opening their mouths at the same time, saying the same thing. This eerie voice made the hair on Ling Tianxing's back stand up. I can't believe I ran into it again, Gu Qingshan silently muttered in his mind. He pulled Ling Tianxing along and silently retreated. Ling Tianxing glanced at him, only to see that Gu Qingshan's expression was very serious. His forehead was covered in a thin layer of cold sweat. What kind of person is Ling Tianxing? As soon as Gu Qingshan's expression changed, he immediately understood the current situation. This eerie demon, Gu Qingshan seems to know it, and from the heavy expression on his face, this demon must be very strong. Ling Tianxing quickly reacted, following Gu Qingshan, and slowly retreated. When they were about 5 feet away, Gu Qingshan suddenly let out a thunderous roar. Use full power. Before he finished, Gu Qingshan had already raised the earth sword in his hand. The earth sword's blade was covered in a layer of exploding lightning, then strengthened by a blinding sword phantom. It's only a secret art, crescent slash. But he used 120% of his power to perform it, turning it into a blinding sun. In the darkness, the unparalleled sword phantom exploded, illuminating the entire forest as if it was daytime. The earth sword drew a sharp arc in the air, striking behind the two of them. Coincidentally, the black shadow appeared behind the two of them and was struck by the arc-shaped sword aura on the spot. Gu Qingshan activates her Thunder Reiki and activates. Out of control. The black shadow suddenly stopped in midair. A second later, billions of screams and wails came from the black shadow. This voice was like an invisible hammer, causing both Gu Qingshan and Ling Tianxing to spit out blood. The black shadow was not feeling well either. This time, Gu Qingshan used the secret art Crescent Slash. Combined with uncontrollable lightning, its power was unparalleled. Lightning also naturally possessed the power to destroy evil, increasing the damage it could inflict on demons by 30%. This sword strike might not be able to severely injure the shadow, but it would definitely cause it great pain and discomfort. Enduring the intense pain in his soul vessel, Ling Tianxing finally finished forming the hand seal. When Gu Qingshan shouted those 3 words, he knew that the situation had changed, and he had to do his best. Without hesitation, he began to form the hand seal. He believes that Gu Qingshan will definitely give him enough time to use this 5-elemental secret art. The two of them have fought their way through the sea of demons in Shen Wu world, so they've already established a tacit understanding with each other. Sure enough, when the black shadow was about to attack, it was struck by Gu Qingshan's sword ray, stopping in midair. Ling Tianxing shouted, "Die!" His hand seal was aimed at the black shadow, releasing it with all his might. 5-elemental secret art, a silence of all beings. This is a power that only a 3rd-stage water elemental user can use, but Ling Tianxing used all of his power to cast it above his own level. A giant transparent ice ball emitting frosty white mist gradually formed in the air, completely trapping the strange black shadow within it. From the moment Gu Qingshan attacked to the moment he attacked, it only took 2 seconds. It was this kind of reaction time and coordination that saved their lives. The first second, Gu Qingshan struck the black shadow that suddenly appeared. A second later, the black shadow broke free from the lightning, roared, and Ling Tianxing released the hand seal. The black shadow's roar stopped. It was completely frozen inside the giant transparent sphere of ice, not moving at all. Slowly, a layer of frost covered the black shadow, turning it into a pure white color. Ling Tianxing looked at his work with satisfaction, about to say something, but then Gu Qingshan shouted, "Run!" As soon as Gu Qingshan shouted, she ran. Ling Tianxing was a bit surprised, but was already dragged by Gu Qingshan. The two of them turned into a streak of light, running back the way they came. Finally, he was a little puzzled. This is a 5-elemental secret art I cast above my own level. Even a golden core cultivator of the same level as me would die without a doubt. Why are you so unconfident in me? When Lung Tianxing was about to explain the power of this technique, he heard a small sound coming from behind him. Crack! A thin crack appeared on the surface of the sphere of ice. Following that, more cracks appeared on the sphere of ice. These cracks quickly spread, becoming bigger and bigger. Lung Tianxing felt a chill down his spine. Now he finally understood how terrifying this demon was. Demons, 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 most commonly seen are demons. Demons are extremely rare, and each one of them has unimaginable power. This one demon was beyond his understanding of demons. Lung Tianxing didn't dare to be careless anymore. Using his full strength, he overtook Gu Qingshan and ran forward. As the two of them ran for their lives, they only made it a few dozen feet before they heard a loud explosion behind them. So fast, Lung Tianxing's expression changed. But Gu Qingshan had already jumped up, flipped her body in the air, and pulled back the night rain. Sha sha sha. 3 black streaks of light flashed and disappeared. These were the 3 remaining demon-slaying arrows. Great shot. Rapid shot. Riding wind. Bombardment. Using all of his skills, all 3 arrows were shot. Gu Qingshan fell, rolled twice on the ground, tried to stand up but couldn't. Bombardment is a high-level archery technique used to kill monsters above his level. Gu Qingshan used it 3 times in a row, plus the secret art Crescent Beheader and lightning thaumaturgy from before. The side effects of using all of his strength made him unable to muster any strength. Seeing that, Lung Tianxing hurriedly ran up, carried him on his back and ran for his life. The 3 demon-slaying arrows whistled towards the shadow. The shadow had just escaped from the sphere of ice. The white frost on its body still hasn't fully receded. All 3 arrows hit the shadow. Countless angry roars reverberated in the surroundings. As the demon-slaying arrows hit the shadow's chest, their momentum suddenly slowed down. All kinds of screams and wails of death came from the black shadow. Every time the demon-slaying arrows went in, countless human figures would appear from the shadow, then disappear. The 3 demon-slaying arrows and the shadow became a stalemate. A few dozen breaths later, the 3 demon-slaying arrows turned to dust and were blown away by the wind. The shadow also became a lot thinner, looking like it was about to collapse. Countless cries of men and women of all ages came from the shadow, spreading all around. The shadow slowly moved, seemingly looking for information about the enemy. After a while, the shadow seemed to have given up and started to make strange noises. It was as if it was talking to the countless entities in the void of space. On the other side, Gu Qingshan was lying on Lung Tianxing's back, took out a high-quality pill and swallowed it. "If you have something to say, just say it," he saw Lung Tianxing's hesitant expression and said. Just now, Lung Tianxing was flying as fast as he could, breathing heavily. "I saw you shoot 3 demon-slaying arrows just now, you still couldn't kill it?" "I couldn't," Gu Qingshan answered. "Its body is made up of countless souls, it's at least a 10,000-man soul, with our strength we can't kill it." "It doesn't seem to be able to catch up," Lung Tianxing said. "Because long-distance raids aren't suitable for it, and it doesn't need to chase," Gu Qingshan answered. "Why?" "Because it can order the demon army to chase us," Gu Qingshan sighed, then continued. "This is a true demon, not something those muddle-headed demons can compare to." After saying so, Gu Qingshan went silent and began to circulate her spirit energy to absorb the pill's effect. "Things are becoming more and more like what I thought they would be. However, the appearance of this demonic creature was truly unexpected. Tianma are divided into invisible Tianma and visible Tianma. Invisible Tianma can only grow by eating human souls, while visible Tianma can only imprison souls, using them as their own life force. Just now, it was a young, tangible heavenly demon. From its state just now, it only managed to imprison around 10,000 souls, and it's still collecting them. If a visible Tianma manages to imprison 100,000 souls, it will evolve into a visible Tianma king. If that's the case, Gu Qingshan and Lung Tianxing wouldn't be able to escape. From his previous life's battle experience, only the learning of the Buddhist sect could restrain the heavenly demon. Using other spells to deal with it would require a lot of effort in order to be effective. And because it's sentient, it can read every soul's memory, so it knows everything about humanity's battlefield. The fact that a visible Tianma is at the front line means the demon army is already prepared. Preparing for the decisive battle. I really can't think of anything else to say. It's clearly humanity who wants to counterattack and fight, but the demon army is also prepared for the same thing. Didn't they already turn their attention to reality? Where did their confidence come from this time's attack? Most importantly, I've only checked a few military camps on my way here. Why did I run into it? Gu Qingshan's mind moved like lightning, thinking about it for a long time, but the truth is getting closer and closer to that terrifying answer. What do we do now? Lung Tianxing breathed heavily and asked. You're a Zhao Wu chaplain, you can decide for yourself. Why are you asking a Shao Qi chaplain like me? Gu Qingshan was thinking about something and casually answered. Whenever I'm with you, I don't know how to command anymore. Lung Tianxing seriously thought about it. Then let's stop for now, Gu Qingshan said. Lung Tianxing stop. I have something I need to do, Gu Qingshan said. Lung Tianxing understood what he was thinking and asked. Alone? Yes, that's why your mission is heavy, you have to complete the merit mission alone, Gu Qingshan said. That's not a problem, that mission is pretty easy, Lung Tianxing said. Also, Gu Qingshan thought for a bit then asked, Your spirit beast, can I borrow it for a bit? What's there to ask? We've been through life and death together, back in Shen Wu world. If it weren't for you, I would have been done for. Chapter 2:15. Lung Tianxing looked at Gu Qingshan and spoke very seriously. Not to mention, during the Bai Hua list, it was thanks to your help that I managed to get the saints' help to take down the poison spider. Gu Qingshan smiled and said, How do you remember that so clearly? Then I'll be going, after the mission is done. Contact me through a communication talisman, Lung Tianxing said without hesitation. All right, be careful, Gu Qingshan said. I'm a golden core cultivator, so I won't be a problem. I just feel like you're a bit dangerous, Lung Tianxing hesitantly asked. You're only Foundation establishment early stage, can you really wander around the wilderness by yourself? Don't worry, Gu Qingshan assured him. All right, then I'll be going. I'll contact you after the mission is done, Lung Tianxing said. Saying so, he dashed away without hesitation. After he left, Gu Qingshan tapped her inventory bag and took out a communication talisman. He spoke slowly and carefully in the communication talisman. After a long time, he released the communication talisman and flew away. Bai Hua Immortal Country. Bai Hua Palace. 100 Flowers Fairy sat on her throne of 10,000 flowers, looking down at the two people below. Is it really that serious? She asked. That's right, all the military camps are in trouble at the same time, catching us off guard, Xianyuan Tianzuan answered. I remember your soul reading technique was quite good, 100 Flowers Fairy said. I've tried to find a few suspicious people, but found that they were all innocent, Xianyuan Tianzuan said with a serious expression. Monk, your Buddhist thaumaturgy can also read people's minds. Didn't you do anything? 100 Flowers Fairy asked. Amitabha, this old monk also paid attention to a few dozen people, but found nothing. The great monk of sorrow sighed, saying, This old monk thinks if this goes on, the front line will be finished. That's why we need to go to the front line, to give everyone some peace of mind, Xianyuan Tianzuan said. 100 Flowers Fairy thought for a bit, then said, I guess that's the only way. Seeing that she agreed, the two of them were happy. Once the 100 Flowers Fairy made up her mind, she would not hesitate. She stood up from her throne and said, Then let's set off immediately. The other two sages also nodded. Just as the 3 sages were about to move, they saw a beam of fiery light fly into the 100 Flowers Hall. It flew all the way to the 10,000 flower throne before floating there quietly. 100 Flowers Fairy's expression changed. She stretched out two slender, jade-like fingers and pinched the flame. She took the communication talisman and checked it with her spiritual sense. As she did, Bai Hua Fairy stood still and didn't move. After a long time, a thoughtful expression appeared on her face, and she slowly sat down on the 10,000 flower throne. "What is it?" Xianyuan Tianzuan asked in a low voice. 100 Flowers Fairy didn't reply. She was still deep in thought. Xianyuan Tianzuan and the great monk of sorrow exchanged looks, both surprised. 100 Flowers Fairy was one of the most powerful human cultivators in the world. Even when she heard that the front line was about to collapse, she didn't show such an expression. What exactly happened? Only to see 100 Flowers Fairy's bare feet stepping on the spirit jade petals, leaning on the 10,000 flower throne. Her expression was a bit surprised, a bit in disbelief. From her expression, she looked like a naive young girl who just heard some kind of strange story. "There's no need to hurry, let's wait a bit longer," she said. "Wait? They're already in a desperate situation. If they don't show up now, humanity's front line might collapse at any moment. The decisive battle is also imminent. Originally it was supposed to be tonight, but from the looks of it, it'll have to be postponed indefinitely." Xianyuan Tianzuan and the great monk of sorrow exchanged looks, about to say something. But 100 Flowers Fairy reached out her hand and lightly pressed down. "Trust me, there's a reason why I'm waiting. The rest of you, don't leave either, stay here and wait with me," she said. "Is it about the front line?" Xianyuan Tianzuan asked. "Yes, is it about the traitor?" the great monk of sorrow asked. Yes, both of them were moved. 100 Flowers Fairy slowly spoke. "This news is very important to us, so we must wait." As she spoke, a smile suddenly appeared on her face. From her expression, she seems to be surprised and proud of something. Gu Qingshan found a secluded place, carefully put the two spirit beast bags away, then set up layers upon layers of formations around himself. Thinking for a bit, he took out a pill to eat, then sat cross-legged to meditate until the spirit energy in his dantian had fully recovered. There were a lot of demons around, but Gu Qingshan's hiding spot was quite good. All the concealment formations were carefully chosen by Qin Xiaolu, so they've always been working well, so they managed to avoid the demon army's search. He's been meditating, not worried about the demon army's search at all. From Foundation Establishment Early Stage to Foundation Establishment Late Stage, he broke through consecutively to reach Foundation Establishment Late Stage in one go, so he was feeling a bit uncomfortable from the sudden increase in spirit energy. But after going all out this time, his body actually felt a lot better. Gu Qingshan was very pleased with this unexpected gain. His body's reaction means that he's quickly adapting to his new realm. Gu Qingshan silently felt that Qin Xiaolu's presence concealment technique is truly miraculous. In the battle just now I used all of my strength, but the corresponding spirit energy fluctuation is still at Foundation Establishment Early Stage. Even someone of Ling Tianxing's caliber was fooled. I have to say, even though Qin Xiaolu's cultivation isn't that great, as long as it's not related to fighting, he still has a few tricks up his sleeve. Gu Qingshan checked his body's condition and found that it's already at its peak. He stretched out his fist and hammered it hard on his chest. This punch was filled with all of his strength, so it hurt his lungs. Pfft! He spat out a mouthful of blood, staining his Shao Qi armor red. If someone saw this, they'd definitely call him a psychopath. The situation is already very dangerous, but he still wants to hurt himself. If he's not a psychopath, then what is? Gu Qingshan didn't care at all, wiped the blood, then used the presence concealment technique to make his spirit energy fluctuation even weaker. After that, Gu Qingshan took out a spirit beast bag. Ling Tianxing's spirit beast bag. He infused his hand with spirit energy and opened the spirit beast bag. A giant ice-blue demon butterfly appeared in front of him. "Where's Ling Tianxing?" the demon butterfly spoke. He went to finish a task. My wounds are very heavy. He left you to take care of me, Gu Qing-shan answered. Heavy wounds? The giant demon butterfly released its inner sight and scanned Gu Qing-shan. Sure enough, this young man's condition is very bad. His spirit energy fluctuation is like a candle in the wind, about to go out at any moment. When will Ling Tian Xing return? The giant demon butterfly asked. 2 days, Gu Qing-shan answered. The giant demon butterfly paused, then said, Then you heal yourself, I'll watch over you. That's great, thank you. Saying so, Gu Qing-shan couldn't help but spat out another mouthful of blood. Trembling, he took out a pill, tried to feed it a few times, but couldn't get it into his mouth. Finally, he managed to control his trembling arm, put it in his mouth and swallowed the pill. Gu Qing-shan closed his eyes to meditate. The giant demon butterfly stood guard on one side, silently watching him. Time slowly passed. Gu Qing-shan's breathing gradually calmed down. His entire body fell into a silent state. This is a meditative state. Meditative state is a deep state of cultivation. The body is in a pre-celestial state, able to sense the law of heaven and earth, as well as stimulate the body's potential, a very good healing technique. The only downside is that in meditative state, you can't sense the outside world. At some unknown point, the inside of the formation suddenly became cold. 2 sharp frost blades gradually formed on the wings of the giant demonic butterfly. All of a sudden, it flapped its wings, the 2 frost blades glowed with a cold light, spinning towards Gu Qing-shan. At this time, Gu Qing-shan was still in a deep meditative state. The giant demon butterfly let out a happy chirp. It could already see the scene of him lying in a pool of blood. Its mission is finally complete. The frost blades cut through Gu Qing-shan's body, but no blood came out. It was a blurred image. Not good. Before the giant demon butterfly could react, it felt a sharp pain all over its body. A sword had pierced through its back, coming out from its chest. Why is this happening? He was clearly sitting there. Why did he suddenly disappear? Why is it that he's clearly heavily wounded, unable to even stabilize his foundation establishment realm, but the spirit energy waves coming from his body aren't much different from mine? The giant demon butterfly was confused. But it couldn't think any further. Because this strike wasn't over yet, because the person on its back had already spoken. So you were the one who revealed our whereabouts. A thunderous sound came from inside the formation. A few moments later, Gu Qing-shan put his sword away with a thoughtful expression. He patted his storage pouch and threw away all the formation plates he had collected. Now that there's a better way to find out the truth, there's no need to waste time thinking about these dead things. He put away all the formations that he had set up and flew away. It wasn't until about half an hour later that Gu Qing-shan stopped. He set up another formation and another small camp. After that, Gu Qing-shan took out the remaining spirit beast bag. This was his own spirit beast bag. Infusing it with spirit energy, the spirit beast bag opened. Flame Cloud chasing Sky Crane appeared in front of him. Ah, where's your companion? Flame Cloud chasing Sky Crane looked around and asked. He has another mission. Gu Qing-shan's voice was weak. His presence concealment technique was once again put to good use. What's wrong? Flame Cloud chasing Sky Crane felt something wasn't right, so he looked at Gu Qing-shan and carefully observed. Only to see that Gu Qing-shan's breathing was weak, his body was covered in blood, his spirit energy waves were scattered and weak. I'm a bit hurt, I'm afraid I can't run anymore, Gu Qing-shan muttered. He took out a formation plate and quickly set up an alarm formation. A few breaths later, a wind spirit formation was successfully set up. You know how to set up formations? Flame Cloud chasing Sky Crane stared at him and asked. That's right, I'm a formation grandmaster. I know a few dozen types of formations. Unfortunately, I'm heavily injured, so I can't set up any more, Gu Qing-shan sighed and regretfully answered. So you let me out because you want me to watch over you? Flame Cloud chasing Sky Crane asked. That's right, I'll have to trouble you to watch over me. Gu Qing Shan casually placed his sword in front of him and said. Chapter 216. You're bringing me back? Back to the camp? Gu Qing Shan looked up, surprised. Flame cloud chasing sky crane flapped its wings. That's right, I'll bring you back, don't worry, I'm your spirit beast, I'll definitely bring you back. Alright, Gu Qing Shan thought for a bit, then nodded. He used his hand to push himself up, barely managed to climb onto the crane's back. Sit tight, flame cloud chasing sky crane told him, flapped its wings and took to the sky. 2 flaming clouds appeared on its wings, leaving a long trail of red light in the air, very beautiful. Flame cloud chasing sky crane flew extremely fast, in just a few breaths. They've already passed countless mountains and rivers. At this speed, they'll reach the camp in about 15 minutes. Aren't we flying too high? Gu Qing Shan looked down and asked. It's no problem, with my speed, no demon can catch up to us. Not to mention, the faster we get back, the faster you can get treated, Flame Cloud chasing sky crane explained. Alright, Gu Qing Shan said, then I'll have to trouble you to fly more steadily. Just sleep for a bit, we'll be there when you wake up, Flame Cloud chasing sky crane replied, then slowed down a bit to fly more steadily. A few moments later, Flame Cloud chasing sky crane flew higher and higher, but Gu Qing Shan had her eyes closed, as if she was taking a nap, oblivious to this. A few dozen breaths later, Flame Cloud chasing sky crane had reached a height where Gu Qing Shan's light barrier couldn't withstand the cold. Aren't we flying a bit too high? Gu Qing Shan finally opened her eyes, looked around and asked. Flame Cloud chasing sky crane didn't answer and continued to fly higher. It's too high, it's so cold, Gu Qing Shan shivered. It's fine if you're cold, Flame Cloud chasing sky crane finally answered. You're going to die anyway. Saying so, it flipped its body, causing Gu Qing Shan to tumble down. Human cultivators had to reach the golden core stage to be able to fly and drive flying boat. Gu Qing Shan was only a foundation establishment initial stage cultivator. If she fell from such a high altitude she would definitely die. What are you doing? Hurry up and catch me! Gu Qing Shan yelled. High up in the sky, the howling wind wrapped around Gu Qing Shan. His body turned into a black shadow, falling down rapidly. The flame cloud chasing sky crane chased after him all the way down, not leaving immediately. There was a sense of ridicule in its eyes, but its tone seemed to have changed into another existence. Humans, you are an extremely weak existence, yet you have such a wonderful taste. This was obviously not the voice of the flame cloud chasing sky crane, but the voice of a beautiful woman. Who are you? Gu Qing Shan screamed in panic. My Shifu is a saint. If you dare to do this to me, she will pull out your tendons, peel off your skin, imprison and torture your soul. The flame cloud chasing sky crane's eyes showed a bit of fear, but it was quickly replaced by cruelty and pride. Tomorrow is the final battle, not just you, even your Shifu won't be able to live for long. While it was talking without holding back, it suddenly noticed an intense spirit energy fluctuation coming from the void of space. This spirit energy fluctuation seems to have come from that brat, but at the same time, it wasn't. Because this was clearly the spirit energy of a foundation establishment late stage, only a bit weaker than a golden core early stage. And that brat is so heavily injured that he can't even hold his sword. Even if that brat was hiding his strength, the flame cloud chasing sky crane wasn't afraid. This was the sky, its home turf. Even flying spirit beasts of the same level couldn't catch up to it, let alone a human cultivator. Suddenly, the flame cloud chasing sky crane's vision blurred. All it could see was the blue sky and the ground, but the falling figure was nowhere to be seen. Not good. It spread its wings, wanting to speed up. An intense pain came, followed by a numbing and stinging sensation that filled its entire body. The flame cloud chasing sky crane couldn't stop twitching, unable to even flap its wings. It was in a spasming state, unable to control itself. Not even a single bit of beast essence could be squeezed out from its beast core. 1 second passed in the blink of an eye. A crescent white sword phantom illuminated the sky. This was a strike that contained all of Gu Qingshan's spirit energy. The crane's long neck was severed from its body, then thousands of tiny strands of sword qi condensed into threads that exploded and twisted in the wind. In an instant, countless strands of sword qi minced the entire demonic bird into pieces. The flame cloud chasing sky crane's body turned into a thick mist of blood, dyeing the void of space a bright red, then was quickly blown away by the howling wind. The sky returned to its normal blue color. The battle just now was like a dream, as if it didn't happen at all. 1 short second. A golden core early stage spirit beast, just like that, dramatically disappeared from the world. At the same time, a notification popped up on the War God UI. You've perfectly executed 2 instant kills, and the targets you killed were all enemies with a higher realm than you. Please keep up the good work and complete 3 instant kills of a weaker opponent to unlock the relevant title. There's such a thing? Gu Qingshan looked at it in surprise. War God title is a very useful thing. Just now when he killed the 2 spirit beasts, he used the title skill of Shao Qi Chaplain Quick Attack. When a sword cultivator explodes to kill, it's all about speed and the power of the strike. Gu Qingshan's sword is already fast, so the title skill that increases his attack speed by 10% on top of that is actually quite a terrifying thing. In both battles, neither the giant butterfly nor the flame cloud chasing sky crane managed to escape death in one hit. Gu Qingshan checked his soul points. After killing a Foundation Establishment Realm giant butterfly and a golden core early stage flame cloud chasing sky crane, combined with the soul points he got from killing the burrowing demon python, he now has 300 soul points. Looking at the cooldown period for soul points to level up, he found that it's already more than half gone. The War God UI's style is still the same, strongly encouraging the player to fight against stronger enemies. Now that there's something more important to deal with, Gu Qingshan silently noted this down. As Gu Qingshan put his sword away, he already had a conclusion. Since it's come to this, he made his decision without hesitation. Now he can start preparing for the final battle. He opened his hands and held them in front of his mouth, shouting, "Come and save me!" His voice traveled very far in the strong wind. A few thousand feet away from him, a streak of flickering golden light suddenly emerged from a tranquil and pure white cloud. This golden light turned into a shadow and arrived in front of him in the blink of an eye. The golden light paused, revealing a delicate and pretty woman clad in golden armor. Heaven's Limit Sex Saintess, Humanity's Cultivation Alliance's UG General, Ning Yuechan. She caught Gu Qingshan, fell down with him for a bit before slowly lifting him up. "What happened just now? Why did you kill your mount without saying anything?" she frowned and asked. "I'll tell you later, I have something more urgent to do right now." Saying so, Gu Qingshan took out a communication talisman and explained everything in detail. Following his explanation, Ning Yuechan's eyes opened wider and wider, full of shock. After saying so, Gu Qingshan let the flaming light fly away. Everything is pretty much clear now. In the past life, humanity's biggest defeat was right in front of their eyes. Before it happened, no one could have predicted that. It wasn't until that decisive battle, when the demons and humanity were fighting one another, that the entire thing happened. The betrayal of the spirit beasts. If one were to look back carefully, this matter should have been planned by the demons before the game had even begun, when the entire cultivation world was still a peaceful place. It wasn't until the 7th year of the apocalypse, during a major battle, that the demons suddenly acted. At the time, all the spirit beasts suddenly turned against humanity. At first, the situation was exactly the same as the current situation in the human army camp. There were always problems with the camp's formations, but they couldn't find any traitors, causing the morale of the army to become unstable Everyone was in danger and the generals didn't know what to do. Then, on the battlefield, when the war reached its most crucial moment, the spirit beasts that were originally the allies of humanity against the demons suddenly turned around and attacked the cultivators from behind. Even now, Gu Qingshan can still feel his heart palpitating at the sight of that terrible scene. One of the three saints, Xianyuan Tianzuan, died in that battle. Even the players couldn't escape the betrayal of the spirit beasts. The spirit beasts that were recognized by the system as their mounts or summoned companions suddenly turned around and attacked the players. You can imagine how confused the players were at the time. That kind of situation, that kind of lack of preparation after the war, corpses were everywhere, humanity was forced to retreat 3,000 miles away, losing a lot of their strength. Originally, humanity still had a bit of an advantage against the demons, a bit of a chance to win. But from the start of that war, humanity fell into a situation where they were at death's door, all the way until the apocalypse came. Gu Qingshan sighed. This time, now that I know the truth, I can't let the tragedy repeat itself. And this time, I have the chance to prepare ahead of time, maybe I can do something more. It's better to do something big and vent my anger from the past life. Ning Yuechan picked up Gu Qingshan and tapped her inventory bag to release an airship. As they got on the airship, Ning Yuechan couldn't help but reach for her spirit beast bag, but was stopped by Gu Qingshan. It's not time yet, he said. Ning Yuechan looked at him and put her hand down. Is it true? It's true, Ning Yuechan took a deep breath and said, if it's true then it's too dangerous. It's dangerous, but it's also a chance, Gu Qingshan smiled. It's too risky, if we don't pay attention, we'll lose everything, Ning Yuechan worriedly said. That's how war is, small skirmishes won't solve the problem, we have to do something big, Gu Qingshan said. Ning Yuechan scoffed. A mere Shao Qi like you wants to talk about war with me? She proudly raised her chin and purposefully straightened her body so that Gu Qingshan could see the golden armor she was wearing. This exquisite golden armor was the symbol of a UG general. Gu Qingshan couldn't help but stare at it a bit longer. Your figure is quite nice, he said with a tone that implied he had to admit. Ning Yuechan blushed. Chapter 217. Noticing the tense atmosphere, Gu Qingshan quickly changed the topic and asked, what have you been busy with lately? Preparing to break through. Preparing to break through, very good, as Gu Qingshan said so, he froze. He looked at Ning Yuechan as if there was something strange on her face. Aren't you Rejuvenation Realm Peak? He hesitantly asked. That's right, then. That's right, you're only in your early 20s. Humph. Ning Yuechan regained her composure and proudly raised her chin. Gu Qingshan felt like he was being hit by a storm. No wonder the very first destiny quest that the war god Ui gave was to save Ning Yuechan. What did the destiny quest say at the time? Gu Qingshan quickly opened the completed quest and checked the description. Quest description. Gongsun Ji and Ning Yuechan are both fallen characters buried deep within history. If you can change their fate, you will be able to change the course of history. Reading through, Gu Qingshan sighed. Ning Yuechan truly lived up to the war god Ui's evaluation, already about to break through to Ascended Realm at such a young age. In the entire history of humanity, there were many talented people, but people like her couldn't even be counted on one hand. This kind of talent is truly the favored child of fate. As soon as she escapes the cage of life and death, she would turn from a cocoon into a butterfly and become a true legend. Perhaps she will be humanity's fourth saint in the future? Sure enough, this world's history is slowly being changed. Then, after a bit of thought, Gu Qingshan made up his mind. He tapped his inventory bag and took out a flower that gave off a faint fragrance. It's been a while, this flower is for you. Why would I want to give you a flower? I don't care. Saying so, Ning Yuechan received the flower. This was a top-notch dragon's tear. It was extremely beneficial for nourishing the soul. Its fragrance was light and elegant, lingering for a long time. If one took it back and stuck it in a water bottle, they could live for several years. The flowers are naturally to curry favor with you, Gu Qingshan said with a straight face. You're a disciple of a saint. Do you still need to suck up to me? Ning Yuechan smiled. Gu Qingshan raised an eyebrow and said, What? Can't someone fawn over you? Do you want to suck up to me instead? Ning Yuechan looked at him from head to toe, just like how Gu Qingshan looked at him earlier. She smiled and shook her head. TSK, 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 Foundation Building Realm. This string of TSK, TSK, Tisk directly cut off Gu Qingshan's momentum that had just surged up. Ning Yuechan was in a good mood as she had successfully turned the tables. Forget it if you don't want it. Gu Qingshan reached out for the flowers. Who said I don't want it? Ning Yuechan hurriedly dodged his hand and hid the flowers behind her back. Fine, 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 it's always going to be you, Gu Qingshan begrudgingly said. Ning Yushi ignored him, raised the dragon's tear cup up, wrinkled her nose and sniffed it, a triumphant smile on her face. The airship picked up Gu Qingshan. A few moments later, the two of them landed in the wilderness. Flying for a long time will definitely draw the demon's attention, so it's safer to run on the ground. After they left, a dreamlike figure appeared from the void of space. This figure was transparent, thin as a cicada's wing, as if it was only the silhouette of someone. A slender figure, a face that could steal the soul of a city, flashed and disappeared. The camp, a soft whisper as the figure flew away, became almost undetectable. At dusk, Gu Qingshan returned to the camp. He took out a communication talisman and left. A few moments later, Leng Tianxing also arrived. Leng Tianxing looked at Ning Yuechan in surprise, then at Gu Qingshan, as if he understood something. But Leng Tianxing's expression didn't change at all, only casually greeted Ning Yuechan. This Leng Tianxing is a sly one, but he knows his limits. How's the quest? Gu Qingshan asked. It's done, we need to turn in the quest now, otherwise we'll be scolded, Leng Tianxing answered. The three of them entered the camp together, heading towards the camp's tent. By Hua Palace, a flame talisman flew in, landing in 100 Flowers Fairy's hand. 100 Flowers Fairy received it, scanned it with her inner sight, then laughed. Interesting, very interesting. Her face was full of curiosity and excitement when she saw something new. Xianyuan Tianzuan and the great monk of sorrow both stood up, looking at her with a serious expression. Fairy, tomorrow is the decisive battle, what could possibly make you so relaxed? Xianyuan Tianzuan's tone was a bit strict. He's never talked to her like this before, so this time, he was a bit angry. The two strongest people in the world, sitting there for over an hour, only to be told that it was very interesting. Even the great monk of sorrow's expression didn't look too good. 100 Flowers Fairy looked at them, then understood. Very well, tomorrow is the decisive battle. I'll tell you the information I just received, she smiled and said. We're all ears, the two saints spoke at the same time. A few moments later, the three saints all had different expressions on their faces. The great monk of sorrow clasped his hands together and chanted, Sadhu, sadhu, it's a good thing we already knew about this, otherwise we would have been in big trouble, Xianyuan Tianzuan asked. But is this information accurate? This kind of thing can't be wrong, 100 Flowers Fairy replied. My disciple has never lied to anyone, not to mention this kind of important information. Then we'll head to the front line right away to eliminate the threat, Xianyuan Tianzuan said. Wait, 100 Flowers Fairy smiled. Don't be hasty, Tianzuan, my disciple has a suggestion for this. I think it's a secret military strategy. We can try it out. She had a warm smile on her face. Her tone was slow and polite. Obviously she was in a good mood. Secret military strategy, this. Xianyuan Tianzuan muttered in a low voice. Being able to find this much information is already quite good, but how can something like military strategy be made up so easily? But following Hundred Flowers Fairy's explanation, Xianyuan Tianzuan's eyes opened wide. His mouth opened wide and didn't close for a long while. Half an hour later, the three saints finished their discussion and flew out of Baihua Palace on a cloud. The camp. Lung Tianxing and Gu Qingshan handed in their mission, but were asked to stay by Ding Yuan General Wu Xingwen. Wu Xingwen cleared his throat and asked, Gu Qingshan, when you came to the camp before, did you kill someone called Li Chuchen? Isn't this guy annoying? Why is he still bothering about this? Gu Qingshan glanced at him. It's not like you don't know. Why did you kill him? Wu Xingwen asked. He disobeyed orders and ran away, Gu Qingshan answered. Wu Xingwen looked at him and suddenly smiled. His smile was very proud of himself. That doesn't seem right. Someone else seems to have a different story. Saying so, he waved his hand. A few people came in from outside the camp. They were spirit beast sex people. Murderer! Li Chuchen's brother shouted. Gu Qingshan squinted her eyes. Spirit beast sex elder stopped the excited disciples, stepped forward and bowed to Wu Xingwen. He spoke. General, we've found evidence that proves that Gu Qingshan was secretly taking revenge, recklessly killing her comrades. Very well, show me the evidence. This general will definitely uphold justice. Wu Xingwen leaned back on his chair and spoke kindly. Spirit beast sex elder took out 5 spirit beast bags and placed them on the ground. These are the spirit beast bags that Li Chuchen left behind, taken from the dead cultivator's belongings, he said. I was the one who put them there, Gu Qingshan answered. That's why the heavens have their own way of dealing with retribution. Li Chuchen's brother gritted his teeth. Spirit beast sex elder glared at Gu Qingshan, then opened the 5 spirit beast bags one by one. 5 different spirit beasts immediately jumped out. They were telling a completely different story to all the cultivators here. In their narration, Gu Qingshan was always looking for trouble with Li Chuchen, but Li Chuchen didn't know how to curry favor with him, instead messing up Gu Qingshan's plans and offending Gu Qingshan. At the end, Ding Yuan General Wu Xingwen cut them off and said, So, what you're saying is that Gu Qingshan purposely took revenge on Li Chuchen? The 5 spirit beasts all nodded. Wu Xingwen waved his hand and said, Bring Bai Haidong and the other 5 female cultivators. As soon as they arrived, Wu Xingwen immediately ordered Questioning Heart. The result of Questioning Heart was also very clear, exactly the same as what Gu Qingshan said before. Wu Xingwen looked at everyone, then at the 5 spirit beasts, a bit troubled. The cultivators all passed the Questioning Heart test. As spirit beasts, their soul vessel is different from humans, so they can't be a questioning heart. At this time, among the spirit beasts, the blue-eyed slanted tiger spoke in human language. You're all humans, so your perspective is different from us spirit beasts. We can see Li Chuchen being bullied and wronged, but you can't see it at all, so your questioning heart test isn't wrong, but you don't know what kind of person Gu Qingshan is. The conclusion is that Gu Qingshan has always wanted to harm Li Chuchen, so she finally found a chance to do so, but on the surface she said that he didn't follow orders, it said. Bullshit. Bullshit. That's not it at all, Bai Haidong and the other female cultivators loudly refuted. At this point, Spirit Beast Sex Elder stood up and said, How about we use Soul Search? As soon as he said that, everyone went silent. Soul Search is a relatively difficult technique to use. It comes with a certain amount of risk. If the cultivator using Soul Search isn't careful, it's very easy to cause permanent damage to the target's soul vessel. I agree. That way, the truth will be revealed. Wu Xingwen slammed the table. The fact that a Baihua sect disciple had her soul searched has a very deep meaning behind it. Even if Gu Qingshan's innocence is proven later on, she'll still be suspected of harming her colleague, so she's already had her soul searched. Once a person's soul is searched, they'll immediately be labeled as a suspect. No matter what happens from now on, Gu Qingshan's reputation will be tarnished. people will look at her with suspicion. From now on, Bai Hua sect disciples won't be able to raise their heads anymore, not to mention being on par with Blue Cloud sect. Gu Qingshan didn't even look at Spirit Beast sect's elder, only looked straight at Wu Xingwen and smirked. Soul Search? You really can think of something like that? I know how to use Soul Search. Let me do it. Spirit Beast sect's elder rolled up his sleeves and was about to step forward. Ning Yuechan stood up and stopped him. Saintess, what do you mean by this? Even the great general agreed. Spirit Beast sect's elder was surprised. You can't use Soul Search, Ning Yuechan spoke. Don't you think you're going too far by not letting him go? Chapter 218. The people of Spirit Beast sect were furious, cursing and swearing at Gu Qingshan, as if the truth of the matter has already been confirmed, that Gu Qingshan was the murderer. Ning Yuechan quickly glanced at the spirit beasts, then at Gu Qingshan. Gu Qingshan shook her head. Ning Yuechan could only endure it. Gu Qingshan looked at the people of Spirit Beast sect, then at Wu Xingwen, who didn't even try to hide his smirk inside. I really have to say, you guys really know how to pick a time. As he spoke, his tone carried a bit of helplessness. Ning Yuechan glanced at him, couldn't hold it in anymore and stood up. Soul reading, I'm also an expert at it, let me do it. You can't. Wu Xingwen spoke. You're clearly biased towards him, this general won't allow you to soul reading. Ning Yuechan looked at him, then casually spoke. General Wu, I know you're a disciple of Blue Cloud sect, and I know you're one of the 3 Ding Yuan generals, 1 rank higher than me. But if you act like this after the battle, I'll definitely ask you to spar with me. Life and death will be up to the heavens. With Ning Yuechan's personality, to say something like that means he's really angry. Don't be like that. I agree to soul reading. Gu Qingshan pulled Ning Yuechan back and spoke. But I need an impartial person. I can't let Spirit Beast sect's elder do it. The enforcer cultivators all nodded in agreement. This is natural. If they won't let Ning Yuechan do it, then they definitely won't let Spirit Beast sect's elder do it either. Who are you looking for? Spirit Beast sect's elder scoffed and asked. My Shifu, Gu Qingshan answered. Ning Yuechan's anger subsided by half. This guy is still as lazy as ever. Spirit Beast sect's elder boss smiled. Your Shifu? If he's your Shifu, he'll definitely protect you. How would you gain the general's trust? As soon as he said so, he noticed that everyone outside of Spirit Beast sect was looking at him sympathetically. No one in the cultivation world would dare to doubt my Shifu's words. Am I right, General Wu? Gu Qingshan asked. Wu Xingwen went silent for a bit, then nodded. He knows what he's doing. No matter how unwilling he is, he doesn't dare to take a step forward. If Gu Qingshan was truly frightened and ended up having his soul searched, it would only be because Gu Qingshan was too weak. After everything was said and done, everything was according to military rules. Gu Qingshan was also willing, no one was responsible, even Bai Hua Fairy can only blame her own disciple for being too weak. But if Qingshan doesn't get Shifu and Flower Fairy is right and insists that Fairy doesn't sect 100 flowers Fairy doesn't sect Fairy is Gu, then as he Shan can Shin. Not to mention Wu Xingwen, even if Xianyuan Tianzuan was here, he wouldn't dare to touch a single hair on Gu Qingshan's head. Otherwise, if 100 Flowers Fairy gets angry, she doesn't care what kind of general you are, she'll just take your life. Humph, tell me, who's your Shifu? The Spirit Beast sect elder noticed something wasn't right and asked. Ning Yuechan suddenly laughed, couldn't help but say. By Flower Fairy, the Spirit Beast sect elder's expression changed. He looked at the guards in the tent, only to find they were all from Blue Cloud's Pass. Being stared at by him, some lowered their heads, some avoided his gaze, while others coldly smirked at him. The Spirit Beast sect elder glared at Wu Xingwen, his expression completely darkened. You tricked me, he said to Wu Xingwen. No wonder you put us in a secluded corner, no wonder you told me that no matter which sect's disciple we are, they'll stick up for us. The spirit beast sect elder spoke in a low voice. Bullshit. Wu Xingwen slammed the table and stood up, angrily shouting, "You're the one who wants to sue him for killing your sect's disciples." He spoke very seriously. "This general is the Dingyuan general, under the Saint Realm. The entire Cultivation Alliance has to listen to my orders. You dare slander this general? But you never told me that his Shifu is by Flower Fairy." The spirit beast sect elder angrily shouted. Wu Xingwen couldn't keep his face any longer, shouting, "You're an elder of spirit beast sect, you don't even know that and you're still trying to sue me, scram. Get the hell out of here." The spirit beast sect elder endured for a while, then suddenly turned around and clasped his fist at Gu Qingshan. "We were deceived by others. If we've offended you, we hope you can forgive us." Gu Qingshan smiled and replied, "It's fine, he wasn't deceiving you, he was deceiving me." The elder of the spirit beast sect stared at him in surprise. Seeing how calm he was and how he did not feel any anger or resentment towards them, he felt a different emotion in his heart. The spirit beast sect elder nodded to him, then brought the rest of spirit beast sect away. But Li Chuchen's brother was still unwilling. "He's relying on his Shifu, that's why he didn't admit to his crimes," he muttered in a low voice, but was quickly dragged away by someone. "What a farce, Gu Qingshan, you've been wronged." Wu Xingwen sighed, faking it. Gu Qingshan smiled, then replied, "I owe it to you, sir." He looked at Wu Xingwen, and Wu Xingwen looked back at him. Gu Qingshan suddenly asked, "General Wu, your blue clouds pass first brother?" "That's me," Wu Xingwen answered. A sect's first disciple is usually responsible for maintaining the sect's reputation, leading by example and educating the other disciples. Gu Qingshan nodded, saying, "Now I know why Li Chang'an is like that. How dare you? Do you really think I won't punish you for slandering this general?" Wu Xingwen couldn't keep up his act and clenched his fist. "You can try. Let's see if your Shifu will protect you a bit more, or if my Shifu will directly take your life," Gu Qingshan said. Wu Xingwen closed his mouth, gritting his teeth. The two of them didn't say anything else. Both of them understood that this time's grudge has been sown. Gu Qingshan turned around to leave. Wu Xingwen was looking at Gu Qingshan from behind. His eyes were a bit different. He was thinking about the truth of the matter. Because under normal circumstances, spirit beasts aren't known to lie. Since Gu Qingshan pulled Bai Hua Saint out, no one else dared to mention the soul reading again. But this also means that the truth is most likely that Gu Qingshan really did harm Li Chuchen. But now that things have reached this point, no one dares to investigate Gu Qingshan. Even if it's military law, they can't just let it fall on Bai Hua Saint's disciple. If that's the truth, and they've already torn all pretenses, first brother? A disciple silently came up and asked. Since spirit beast sex people and spirit beasts have already confirmed it, even if the saint asks later, they'll be there to take the blame. We don't need to be afraid. Saying so, Wu Xingwen thought for a bit, then whispered something to the other disciples. A few Jade Cloud sect disciples tacitly understood and left. Afternoon. Gu Qingshan's group went to see the female cultivators of Heaven's Limit sect. When he came out from the female cultivators' resting area, Gu Qingshan suddenly noticed that the cultivators around him were looking at him strangely. "Is it him?" "It's him, shameless bastard, despicable, using public office for personal revenge," everyone was whispering among themselves, not minding that he heard them. And many Qing Yun sect cultivators were walking around the camp, dragging people everywhere, telling the things that happened the night before yesterday, adding oil and vinegar to the story to the people around them. Lung Tianxing couldn't stand it anymore and wanted to stop them, but was stopped by Gu Qingshan. "It's fine, if you go, it'll only make things worse," he said. "Those spirit beasts are loyal to their master, but they shouldn't have used such a method to slander you." Lung Tianxing still didn't know what happened and sighed. Gu Qingshan and Ning Yuechan exchanged glances but didn't say anything. By nightfall, the entire camp already knew what happened during the day. Bai Hua Saint's disciple Gu Qing Shan bullied a spirit beast sect disciple during a mission, then used that as an excuse to kill him. Chapter 219. Normally speaking, because spirit beasts and cultivators have been together for a long time, they'll develop a special connection between them, so the cultivation world considers spirit beasts to be a cultivator's most loyal companions. Not to mention, these spirit beasts only just lost their master, yet they still dared to expose the saint's disciple, a testament to their loyalty and sincerity. Blue Cloud's Pass's disciples ran all over the camp, whispering to each other. But spirit beast sects cultivators silently watched this and wisely kept their mouths shut. They've already understood that they've become the sacrificial pawns in the fight between the saint's disciples. To protect themselves, they can't say anything else at this point. But the spirit beasts still stayed in the camp. The Dingyuan General Wu Xingwen didn't allow spirit beast sect to take them back, saying that they'll be kept for further investigation. Because of that, the majority of the cultivators couldn't help but believe this. Things were quietly and slowly fermenting. Quite a few female cultivators silently took out some pills and spirit food, giving them to the spirit beast. They were using this silent gesture to show their stance. Quite a few cultivators coldly stared at Gu Qingshan, their eyes carrying silent contempt and disdain. Humph, Ning Yuechan has never been looked down on like this before, so she gritted her teeth, wanting to say something. Don't get too worked up, it's not like they're doing this to you. Gu Qingshan pulled her back. They can't do this to you either, it's not fair, Ning Yuechan casually said. What fairness? Gu Qingshan replied. The only thing we need to do right now is to wait patiently, knight. Several armies have arrived, the decisive battle is about to begin. Humanity's 3 Dingyuan generals have gathered. Dingyuan General Gong Sunji, Dingyuan General Wu Xingwen, Dingyuan General Ming Hui. Wu Xingwen is Blue Cloud's Pass's eldest brother, Ming Hui is Spirit Leaf Temple's head disciple. Both of them are strong cultivators, as well as being disciples of Xianyuan Tianzuan and the Great Monk of Sorrow, so of course they're respected by everyone. Gong Sunji, on the other hand, was a truly busy man. With his profound knowledge of arrays, he had participated in many of the major battles that the human race had won. As one of the 3 Dingyuan generals, everyone respected him. For some unknown reason, what happened during the day quickly spread to all the armies. Even Gong Sunji and Minghui Monk knew a thing or two about it. Gong Sunji frowned and thought for a moment before shaking his head. Monk Minghui chanted Amitabha and did not say anything else. Although there were people who died unjustly at the hands of a sage's disciple, cultivators still had to do what they had to do. Only in the spirit beast sect there were some unusual movements. How did he provoke the 100 Flower sect's sword 15? An elder asked in a low voice. He was tricked by Wu Xingwen, the first elder sighed. The report he showed me didn't have Bai Hua Sect's Gu Qingshan's name on it. Seeing everyone's worried expressions, he gritted his teeth. If we keep our mouths shut right now, we'll be fine. If Bai Hua Saint asks, even if she has to search my soul, I'll have to explain everything clearly to protect the sect. But the spirit beasts, I don't know what's going on either. Could it really be? On the other side, the 3 Dingyuan generals stood on 3 platforms, giving out orders and arranging personnel. Wu Xingwen stood on top of the platform, arranging the final battle. Spirit Beast Sects Wang Zhaowu. Here, responsible for scouting the front lines. Roger. Flowing Clouds Sects Zhang Zhenwei. Here, responsible for attacking the left flank. Roger. Yao Guang Sects Ling Zhaowu. Here, Ling Tianxing answered. Responsible for attacking the front lines. Roger. Yuji General Ning Yuechan. Here, Ning Yuechan answered. Responsible for commanding the front lines and the flanks. Roger. While Wu Xingwen was going on, he suddenly ordered. The remaining 5 sects split into 2 groups, responsible for transporting pills, formation plates and other military supplies. Everyone looked over. only to see that the remaining sects were Bai Hua Sect, Spirit Flame Palace, Origin Sword Sect, Fu Shao Mountain and Cloud Gate Sect. Spirit Flame Palace, Origin Sword Sect, Fu Shao Mountain and Cloud Gate Sect each had a few dozen people. As soon as they heard the order, they split into 2 groups of 2. Only Bai Hua Sect's Gu Qingshan stood there by herself. What's going on? There's still one more person. Why aren't there any positions? Wu Xingwen purposely asked loudly. You said to split into 2 groups. We've already formed them. A cultivator from Spirit Flame Palace shrugged and answered. Why didn't you add him? Wu Xingwen asked. We don't want people who kill their comrades, a cultivator from Origin Sword Sect muttered in a low voice. Everyone went silent. All the cultivators coldly stared at Gu Qingshan. Even the groups led by the other 2 generals had quite a few cultivators looking over. Gu Qingshan just stood there without a single person around her. Ahaha, good, that's how it should be. This kind of person, pretending to be righteous, using his position to take revenge, who cares about him? So what if he's a saint's disciple? If it weren't for the spirit beasts watching, we would have been fooled by him. Just stay away from him, let him fend for himself. The whispers were getting louder and louder, slowly turning into a storm. Wu Xingwen had a faint smile on his face as he watched this scene. That's enough. Suddenly, a voice came. A cultivator jumped up from the other side of the platform. He stood next to Gu Qingshan, loudly shouting, What murderer, did you see it with your own eyes? My ass! Ever since we arrived here today, over a dozen disciples of Blue Cloud's Pass have been running around, all of them saying bad things about our Bai Hua sect. Do you even have the ability to tell? You're framing us alive! Qin Shaolu shouted. He excitedly paced back and forth, then pointed a finger at Wu Xingwen. You're a Dingyuan general, yet you're letting your fellow sect members spread rumors before the war, shaking the army's morale. Let me ask you, what are your intentions? How dare you? Wu Xingwen suddenly stood up. A mere Zhen Wei chaplain dares to criticize this general. Everyone knows about this, everyone spread it because justice is in the hearts of the people. What does this general have to do with this general? You! Qin Shaolu was furious, but then he saw that the other party was wearing a Dingyuan general armor, spirit energy surging around his body, as well as a row of Blue Cloud's Pass cultivators coldly staring at him. Qin Shaolu turned around, grabbed Gu Qingshan's hand and walked away. Junior brother, let's go, we're going to General Sun, we don't want to be bullied by him here. Stop! Wu Xingwen shouted. What do you want now? We can't afford to mess with you, so why can't we just leave? Qin Shaolu said. Gu Qingshan is a Shao Qi chaplain under my command. How could she go with you? Wu Xingwen looked up and said. What did you say he was? A Shao Qi chaplain under my command. So you know he's a Shao Qi chaplain. I've never heard of any Shao Qi chaplain being sent to transport supplies. And you're still saying you're not against my Bai Hua sect? Wu Xingwen coldly laughed, saying, So what if he's transporting supplies? You're still a Zhen Wei chaplain, but look at yourself, can you even go to battle? Can you even fight? You. Qin Shaolu was so angry his body was shaking, unable to say anything. Gu Qingshan pulled him in front of her, pressed his shoulder and spoke very seriously. Senior brother, calm down and listen to me. Qin Shaolu looked at him, his eyes red and swollen. Gu Qingshan calmly and slowly spoke. You and I are both Bai Hua Saint's disciples. The path we walk is the path to heaven. As long as we believe we're not in the wrong, there's no need to care about what other people think, not to mention, as a man walks the world, there's bound to be a bit of wind and rain, a bit of mockery, that's nothing out of the ordinary. Chapter 220. Qin Shaolu slowly calmed down and silently nodded. Wu Xingwen scoffed, then raised his voice. Man of character? How laughable! Do you think bullying the weak is the right thing to do? Everyone was shocked. This is the first time the Dingyuan general has revealed his crimes, which means this must be true. Gu Qingshan calmly spoke. As a human general, you slander others like this, that is bullying the weak, how dare you? Wu Xingwen pointed at Gu Qingshan, about to say something else. Do you really want to die? Although I can't win against you right now, I can beg Shifu to take your lowly life. Gu Qingshan squinted her eyes and spoke. Trust me, I'm not joking, I'm serious, he said. Wu Xingwen couldn't help but retract his hand, feeling a bit scared. If the other party were to openly do something like that, with Bai Hua Fairy's carefree personality, she might actually want to take his life. Wu Xingwen begrudgingly spoke. Aren't you just using your Shifu to disregard military authority? Now that the decisive battle is upon us, you're still thinking of taking revenge on this general. How selfish and cruel. Gu Qingshan's face was expressionless, speaking word by word. If you say one more word, I'll beg Shifu to take your life right now. He took out a communication talisman and held it in his hand. Infusing it with spirit energy, the talisman lit up. Wu Xingwen looked at him, opened his mouth, but couldn't say a single word. He really couldn't say anything. This matter needs to be handled properly. The best way is to make sure the other side can't even raise their heads, and can't face the saint. This brat is just like the spirit beast said, using his power to bully others, killing Li Chuchen for a personal grudge, so why is he still so stubborn? From the looks of it, he doesn't seem like he's going to swallow this. Isn't he afraid that the saint will find out about this and think that he's a bad person? Bastard! This brat, not only did he ruin his reputation, he even dared to embarrass me in front of everyone. What a despicable bastard! Wu Xingwen was so angry that he almost broke his teeth. Inside the armor, his body trembled slightly, as if some uncontrollable emotions were brewing. Looking around, it was true that everyone was angry at Gu Qingshan, but they didn't dare to say anything. Gu Qingshan sighed and said, I'm actually a little curious. Why do you say that? Qin Xiaolu teased. He was already feeling uncomfortable when he was blocked by Wu Xingwen in a few sentences, but he didn't expect his junior brother to be able to block him with just a few sentences. He's clearly a general, yet he uses such shady methods that can't be shown in public. When it comes to a direct confrontation, he's so greedy for life and afraid of death. Ha 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 ha! Qin Xiaolu laughed wildly. Gu Qingshan looked at Wu Xingwen with a strange look in her eyes. Gu Qingshan's expression was indifferent when he was isolated by everyone, but now he seemed to be a little worried. That's enough, don't say any more. Gong Sunji walked over. Old Wu, I owe you a favor, he clasped his fist. Go ahead. Wu Xingwen's expression darkened. I don't care about your business, just give Gu Qingshan to me. I have my own arrangements, Gong Sunji said. Hearing that, Wu Xingwen was a bit hesitant. Should I accept or reject? Just like in the previous war, it was Gu Qingshan who asked Bai Hua Saint to save Gong Sunji. If that's the case, wouldn't I be letting him go? But the war is right around the corner, I won't let this go. Wait a minute, I want to ruin Gu Qingshan's reputation, but at this point, why would I? As Wu Xingwen's thoughts flashed by, while he was hesitating, he suddenly felt an uncontrollable rage in his chest. Resentment, fury, resentment, brutal killing intent, all sorts of emotions and thoughts erupted at the same time and surged into his mind. A voice suddenly came from his mind. That's right, I've already prepared a backup plan. I can't let him go. My next step is to kill him on the way. As soon as that thought popped up, all of his worries were crushed. Wu Xingwen looked at Gong Sunji, then at Gu Qingshan, then smiled. I'm sorry, General Gong Sun, but he's one of my subordinates. I've already given my order, so I can't take it back, not to mention, I can't just casually transfer people around, a person like that. It's best if he doesn't harm your troops. His tone was very gentle, shrugging as if to say that he can't do anything about it. Then what about me? A female voice suddenly came from the sky. All the cultivators looked up. In the sky, the 100 Flowers fairy was silently standing there, with Xianyuan Tianzuan and the great monk of sorrow on her left and right. "Greetings, Saint." The cultivators all bowed to greet her. The 100 Flowers Fairy's eyes were cold, looking at Wu Xingwen without changing her expression. "I'm going to ask you, I want to take Gu Qing Shan away from your hands, will you allow it?" She exuded an intense spirit pressure, even the black clouds in the sky were blown away by it. Boom! An unparalleled spiritual pressure erupted, and the tens of thousands of cultivators present were forced to kneel on the ground. "Why don't you tell me?" The 100 Flowers Fairy's tone was calm, but the spirit pressure she exuded was increasing by the second. The 100 Flowers Fairy was furious. On the way here, she was still feeling smug that her disciple found out such a shocking secret. This matter could very well decide the course of this war. The other 2 saints were also shocked, feeling that the truth of this matter was too bizarre. The 100 Flowers Fairy even jokingly said that after the war is over, she'll raise her disciple's military rank. Then the 3 saints arrived at the front lines, only to see that Gu Qing Shan was isolated by everyone, assigned to deliver supplies. Even the supplies were pushed aside. The 3 saints saw that Gongsun Ji came to ask for her, but Wu Xingwen also rejected him. The 3 saints of humanity were all smart people, so they immediately noticed what was going on. Isn't this the same as openly going against him? Because of that, Xie Daoling couldn't hold it in anymore. Facing the 100 Flowers Fairy, Wu Xingwen felt all of his emotions being emptied out. All of his thoughts and killing intent from before, as if he was afraid of the 100 Flowers Fairy, had completely disappeared. Feeling the 100 Flowers Fairy's anger, Wu Xingwen was so scared that he hurriedly bowed. "The saints have ordered, I will naturally obey. Very well, my disciple is a scourge," the 100 Flowers Fairy slowly spoke, "and you even had my disciple deliver supplies to the front lines. You Dingyuan general sure are capable." The 100 Flowers Fairy had never said something like that before. She's always been a person who doesn't care about personal matters, so for her to say something like that means she's furious. Wu Xingwen's heart trembled, hurriedly turned to Xianyuan Tianzuan and begged for help. Shifu Xianyuan Tianzuan scowled. "What exactly is going on here? We're about to fight, so why are you holding on to a disciple like that? Could it be that he really did something wrong, that he dared to embarrass a Dingyuan general in front of everyone? If that's the case, even if I offend Xie Daoling, I still have to stand up for my disciple." Xianyuan Tianzuan cleared his throat and asked, "What's going on?" Wu Xingwen then told him everything that happened, adding oil to the fire. It was unexpectedly smooth. An inexplicable thought flashed through his mind. After this, Shifu might very well break off her relationship with the 100 Flowers Fairy. "You mean, you called the people of Spirit Beast sect here, and after listening to the Spirit Beast's words, you feel that there's something wrong with him?" Xianyuan Tianzuan's slowly gathering spirit suddenly stopped. His expression became very strange. Amitabha, the great monk of sorrow, suddenly uttered a Buddhist chant, but quickly shut his mouth. His eyes first met with Gu Qing Shan's, then casually glanced at Wu Xingwen. Chapter 221. Looking at the 3 saints, Wu Xingwen's heart sank. He's the one in the right here, and justice is on his side. Even if 100 Flowers Fairy was angry, his Shifu should have protected him. Even the great monk of sorrow, who can't stand a single grain of sand, would stand on his side. No matter how strong 100 Flowers Fairy is, facing 2 saints at once, she can only swallow her anger. At that time, I'll be able to show my righteous image in front of everyone. Even 100 Flowers Fairy won't be able to touch me in front of the other 2 saints. This will also deal a blow to Bai Hua sect's reputation, getting back what they lost in the semester examination. Gu Qing Shan will also lose her reputation from then on, no longer having that bullshit Sword 15 nickname. That's killing 3 birds with 1 stone. Who knew that as soon as the 3 saints arrived, not only did Shifu not protect me, even the great monk of sorrow spoke up. Why is that? Wu Xingwen felt dizzy, as if there was a wall blocking his mind, preventing him from thinking clearly. Qin Shaolu, you should go and finish your original task. Gu Qingshan, come with me. 100 Flowers Fairy waved her hand, taking Gu Qingshan to the cloud and stood behind her. Yes, Shifu, Qin Shaolu happily jumped back, glaring at Wu Xingwen on the way. Let's put this aside for now. 100 Flowers Fairy tried to hold it in for a while before finally speaking. That's right, there's something more important to do right now. About your disciple, we'll give him justice later. Xianyuan Tianzuan also tried to persuade her. Hearing that, Wu Xingwen was even more frightened. But there's no turning back now. The great monk of sorrow looked at the cultivators and spoke with a gentle voice. Amitabha, to find the traitor, this saint has come up with a method to identify them. Everyone, put down your weapons, inventory bags and spirit beast bags, then enter the tent one by one. With the power of Buddhism, this saint will quickly find the traitor. After we've identified the traitor, we'll immediately head to Demon Cloud's river to fight the demons. Yes. The cultivators responded in unison. Since the monk of sorrow had a way to solve the problem, it was naturally for the best. At this time, the 100 Flowers Fairy brought Gu Qingshan into the tent, while Xianyuan Tianzuan looked at everyone and spoke. The 3 Ding Yuan generals, come in first. Hearing this, Wu Xingwen hesitated as he glanced at the other 2 Ding Yuan generals, only to see that Gongsun Ji and Ming Hui Monk had already followed Xianyuan Tianzuan inside. Wu Xingwen stood there in a daze, then suddenly laughed. What was going on? Why don't I want to go in? Wu Xingwen shook his head and followed him into the tent. Seeing Wu Xingwen walk into the tent, the great monk of sorrow who had been silent all this while let out a sigh of relief, as if he was celebrating something. There's still hope, he muttered in an almost inaudible voice before entering the tent. A moment later, the 3 Ding Yuan generals walked out. They very naturally called out to their subordinates and organized the cultivators of various sects and clans to enter the military tent in an orderly manner. One by one, the cultivators lined up in a long line and quickly entered the military tent. This process was too quick, so quick that it felt like it was just for show. Because of this, a strange scene appeared in the military tent. The cultivators entered the military tent with blank expressions, then quickly came out from the other side. Among the cultivators waiting in line to be screened, some of the smarter ones among them had the same answer in their minds. The 3 saints were just going through the motions. The reason why they did this was to reassure everyone before the final battle. How is it? How did the saints identify traitors? What kind of spell is it? A few cultivators who haven't gone in yet grabbed the cultivators who just came out and asked curiously. A Buddhist secret technique, you'll know once you go in. The cultivators who just came out kept them in suspense and answered mysteriously. After all the cultivators had gone through the military tent, the 3 saints reappeared on the general selection platform. From their expressions, they seemed a bit tired. But the strange thing was, even now, not a single traitor was found. And the great monk of sorrow didn't seem to be in the mood to talk about this. The entire military camp was silent. No one asked who the mole was at the wrong time. In the midst of silence, the 3 saints spoke. Let's go. Xianyuan Tianzuan asked. Let's go, success or failure depends on this, the 100 Flowers Fairy answered. Amitabha, may the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas protect humanity, the great monk of sorrow said. Demon Cloud's River. This was a vast river in front of the Demon Palace. This river was originally called Cloud's River, but after the Tianma from the outside world descended, it was renamed Demon Cloud's River. Legend has it that many years ago, when the Demon Palace appeared in this world, to avoid attracting the attention of the living beings of this world, the demons of the other world diverted the river water and used a secret technique to isolate this place. The Demon Cloud's River was shrouded in mist all day long, the wind didn't disperse, birds couldn't fly, fish couldn't swim. Only a few mountain peaks on top of the river were covered in green spirit plants, looking like a celestial mountain. If you didn't know, you wouldn't be able to think that this place was actually the territory of the demons. Behind the Demon Cloud's river was the Demon Palace. Although it's called the Demon Palace, it actually looks more like a temple. This temple was made from solid black metal, without a single hole in it, only a single black gate that was wide open. Standing outside, looking in from afar, you can see a graceful figure sitting on the altar. Because of the limited vision, you can only see the thin feather clothing she was wearing, but not her face or expression. No one knows what kind of person is being worshipped on the altar, and no one has ever been able to sneak into this temple to see what's going on. At the time, Gongsun Ji and Ning Yuechan also came back from Shunwu World and wanted to go in to see what's going on, only to be discovered by the demons and be exposed. The camp in front of the Demon Cloud's river. Countless demons of all shapes and sizes were standing in formation. They roared and roared, impatiently waiting for the military order to charge into the cultivator army and slaughter them in a frenzy. Not far from them on the other side was the human race's army. Tens of thousands of human cultivators were completely silent, looking at the demons without saying a word. Inside every formation, large-scale defensive formations and offensive formations were already prepared. The cultivators were also holding their weapons in their hands. They were also waiting for the next order. On this day, as if even heaven and earth had sensed it, the sun didn't rise for the entire day. High up in the sky, thick dark clouds were gathering, covering the entire sky and making the earth seem cold and gloomy. The two armies were facing each other. The drums of war were about to be beaten. Suddenly 13 figures floated up from the demonic clouds river and landed between the two armies with a majestic aura. A tall old man wearing a white robe appeared. His white hair was tied into a neat Taoist bun, and he wore a long white robe. His skin was also sickly pale, and there were cracks on both sides of his eyes. Once he smiled. His white vertical pupils looked especially ferocious. This was the inheritor of the divine beast White Tiger's bloodline, a saint who has been a beast saint for hundreds of years, the strongest beast saint, Venerable Exin. Venerable Exin clasped his hands behind his back, laughing. "This old man is here, why don't I see the 3 saints?" When he opened his mouth to speak, the other 12 figures landed quietly and stood respectfully behind him. In the army formation, when the fiendish demons heard his voice, all of their minute movements immediately paused, not daring to make the slightest sound. A cloud slowly flew out from the human army, landing in front of the white-robed Venerable Exin. Chapter 222. The white-robed Venerable Exin evaluated the 3 saints of humanity one by one, silently thinking about his plan. This plan has been in the works for a very long time, starting several dozen years before the Demon Lord came to this world. But now, even the Demon Lord has gone to another world, leaving the war to me. The other world's demons have already followed the Demon Lord to another world to enjoy the fruits of victory. But they won't allow me and the others to follow them. How detestable! Now that the war has reached this point, I've already reached the end of the road. I have no choice but to fight with my life on the line. The red-faced Taoist is Xianyuan Tianzuan. As long as I can hide this from him, I'll be halfway to success. Although 100 Flowers Fairy is strong, she's used to being lazy and doesn't like to scheme too much. The Great Monk of Sorrow is also easy to deal with. As long as the other 2 saints make a decision, the Great Monk of Sorrow will silently follow and only be responsible for putting in effort. So this time, the most important thing is to convince Xianyuan Tianzuan. The next step must be a success, otherwise when the Demon Lord returns, I'll definitely end up in a terrible state. Thinking that, the white-robed Venerable Exin's hesitation disappeared. Amitba, fellow Tao Seeker Exin, long time no see, the Great Monk of Sorrow said. But Venerable Exin said, "Enough with the small talk, I only want to ask you, are you really going to fight this time?" Since when was it a fake fight? 100 flowers, fairy scoff. Venerable Xian looked at her and smiled. Xie Daoling, why are you so serious? Xie Daoling also looked at him and said, if you're not serious, then scram from this world and follow the other world's demons to find another world. Venerable Xian sighed. It's not that easy to find another world. We need to hold our home in our hands first before we can go on our way without worry. That's why there's nothing to say, we'll just fight. Saying so, Xianyuan Tianzuan already had a talisman in his hand. The talisman was glowing brightly, as if a single wave of Xianyuan Tianzuan's hand would activate a powerful spell. Don't be hasty. Venerable Xian reached his hand out and stopped him. What, do you want to surrender? Xianyuan Tianzuan was a bit surprised. There are over a dozen of us and only 3 of you. You should be the one surrendering. One of the beast saints could not help but speak up. Venerable Xian turned around and glanced at the beast saint. The beast saint immediately shut up. Venerable Xian then spoke. If we really were to fight, no matter if it's you or us, someone will definitely die here. Think about how hard it is for us to cultivate, how much wind and rain we have to go through, how much pain we have to go through to reach the sainted realm. Are we going to give up our cultivation for one battle? His tone was gentle and sincere, causing others to unconsciously feel a sense of recognition. Not to mention, Venerable Xian saw that no one said anything. Feeling satisfied, he continued. You are willing to sacrifice human cultivators, but I'm not willing to let my demon subordinates die on the battlefield. What do you want? Xie Daoling asked. Why don't we make a bet? We won't put our lives on the line, we'll just use the result of the bet to determine the winner. The white-robed Venerable Xian smiled and said. What about winning? What about the loss? Xianyuan Tianzuan asked. If you win, we'll immediately surrender, swear on our inner demons and become your followers from now on. Venerable Xian said. That's not a bad idea, but what if we lose? Xianyuan Tianzuan asked. Then we'll have to ask the 3 saints to leave this world and give us this piece of land. Venerable Xian smiled and said. Xie Daoling suddenly asked. Before the otherworld demons came, humanity and the demon race didn't interfere with each other's business, living in peace for thousands of years. Why can't we tolerate each other now? Venerable Xian recalled what happened in the past and couldn't help but sigh. Those who walk different paths cannot make plans together. That can't be right. Xie Daoling stared at him and spoke very seriously. There must be some kind of benefit that you can't refuse, otherwise you wouldn't risk your lives to become the demon's dogs. How about this? Venerable Xian thought for a bit and said. If you win, not only will we become your followers, we'll also tell you this secret. The 3 saints exchanged looks and temporarily fell silent. Obviously, they were using inner sight to discuss how to decide. Venerable Xian understood that, so he didn't rush them and patiently waited. A few moments later, Xianyuan Tianzuan asked, How do you want to fight? The white-robed old man was secretly glad, but his expression didn't change. It's very simple, you and I will fight. The limit is 10 attacks, whoever gets hit the most loses. 1-on-1? Xie Daoling asked. That's not possible. Venerable Xian clasped his fist. The 3 saints of humanity aren't people that any one of us can deal with, so please relax a bit and fight 2-on-1. The demon race's realm increases very quickly, but their strength can't keep up with their realm. Fighting 2-on-1, they were barely able to stop one of the 3 saints. It's almost impossible for either side to kill the other within 10 attacks, not to mention there are still people watching over the battle from the sidelines. Seeing how fair the conditions were, the 3 saints were a bit tempted. However, if you lose, are you really willing to follow us? 100 Flowers Fairy asked again. You and I are both saints, what's the point of going back on our words other than making us a laughing stock? Venerable Xian said. Alright, then we'll fight, 100 Flowers Fairy said. Hearing her say that, the other 2 saints also nodded. Venerable Xian looked at Xie Daoling in surprise, not sure why she was being so easy to talk to today. But no matter, I've already invited them in, very well. Fighting here will easily hurt my subordinates, please follow me. The white-robed venerable Exion swung his sleeves and flew towards Demon Cloud's river first. The three saints thought for a bit, then followed. This place is right in between the two armies. If the saints were to use their spells here, there's a high chance that the two armies would be affected. Noticing that they were following, venerable Exion smirked. The conditions aren't the key, and the fight isn't the key. The key is to lure the three saints onto Demon Cloud's river at the same time. As long as none of the three saints manage to get onto Demon Cloud's river, what happens next won't be up to them. Venerable Exion's heart was filled with joy. The three saints will definitely die here, unless they break through the void of space and escape into the space vortex. But if that's the case, it'll be very hard to come back, and there's nothing to fear. Not to mention the human cultivators, once they act, they'll all be dead. The entire world will become my fruit of victory. When the Demon Lord finds out about this, he'll definitely reward me greatly. Those otherworldly demons who mocked and looked down on him would crawl under his feet and become his subordinates who could decide their lives and deaths. The white-robed old man couldn't help but try his best to calm himself down and maintain a stable flying posture. A dozen beast saints, together with the three saints of humanity, rode on a cloud, flying towards Demon Cloud's river. Stop, let's do it here. The white-robed old man identified the direction and casually said. Everyone stopped moving. Then let's begin, he rubbed his hands. 10 moves is the limit, it's best if we don't hurt each other. Who wants to come up first? Xianyuan Tianzuan clasped his hands behind his back, flying in between the two sides. The way I see it, let's fight all three at once. The white-robed old man smiled mysteriously and pointed at 6 beast saints. Following his order, 6 beast saints stepped out and flew towards Xianyuan Tianzuan. 6 beast saints, that's more than enough to kill Xianyuan Tianzuan. The great monk of sorrow and 100 flowers fairy saw that the situation wasn't good, so they quickly flew up and stood beside Xianyuan Tianzuan. Chapter 223. If the three saints are in position, then let's begin, Venerable Exion said. Seeing the three saints of humanity and the 6 beast saints in a stalemate, and the three saints had already begun to form hand seals, Venerable Exion silently took a step back. The only chance. Right now, the three saints' inner sight was locked onto the 6 beast saints, so they couldn't pay attention to anything else. Venerable Exion quickly tapped his inventory bag and took out a certain item. It was a gray clay jar that didn't look like much. But if you look carefully, you'll notice that there was a faint layer of smoke surrounding the jar. Inside the smoke, there seemed to be countless living beings, giving off a sense of vicissitude. As Venerable Exion looked at this item, his eyes became heated and frenzied. This was the demonic treasure that the Demon Lord gave him before he left, directly establishing his position among the demons. It was because of this item that he was recognized as the commander of this world's demon army. Venerable Exion smirked, holding the jar close to his chest and pointed it at the 3 saints and the 6 beast saints. The power of countless demonic gods and beasts, heed my command, freeze. Deep inside Demon Cloud's river, countless black lights floated on the surface of the river, turning into eerie runes. The entire river looked like a giant talisman, but the aura this talisman gave off was full of evil and eerie. The black light on the river exploded, the demonic aura shot up to the sky. This giant talisman seemed to have been activated. Above the river, everything was frozen. Even the invisible river wind was frozen in place, unable to move in the slightest. The 3 saints of humanity's expressions of shock and anger were also frozen. They couldn't even move a muscle. The 6 beast saints that were about to fight against them were also frozen. Ahahaha, using Demon Cloud's river as a talisman, using the power of the Tianma as a catalyst, this Tianma heavenly talisman took 60 years to complete, and now it's finally going to be used. Venerable Exion laughed in a frenzy. A few moments later, all the runes disappeared. A circular black light shot out from the bottom of Demon Cloud's river, enveloping the 3 saints and the 6 beast saint. The black light trapped both sides within it. The 9 sainted realm cultivators were still unable to move a single inch inside the black light. Although this was a powerful sealing technique, it still couldn't cause any damage to the 3 saints of humanity. Venerable Exion's eyes were filled with joy. He spat out a mouthful of green blood, roared and chanted an incantation. 10-dimensional worlds. Boundless dust kill sea. Let the trillions be in the Ascenji tribulation. Countless great freedom heavenly demons have surrounded us. When he started chanting, the entire Demon Cloud's river stopped flowing. Be it the waves, the torrents, the whirlpools, or the waves, they all stopped moving. Venerable Exion laughed loudly, raised the vase above his head and shouted, "Come!" The torrential Demon Cloud's river quickly rolled up and turned into a ball of water that emitted a vast mist. Then, it flew into the clay jar. Without water, the bottom of the Demon Cloud's river was filled with yellow sand. It was like a barren desert without any signs of life. The entire Demonic Cloud's river no longer looked like a paradise filled with spiritual energy. Venerable Exion spat out another mouthful of blood, exerted all his strength to control the vase and shouted, "Tianmao, show yourself!" From the vase, a black light shot out and struck the countless layers of sand at the bottom of Demon Cloud's river. All the sand instantly disappeared. So underneath this layer of sand was the true face of Demon Cloud's river. And now, with Venerable Exion's spell, the true face of Demon Cloud's river was finally revealed to everyone. The densely packed black statues lined up one after another, filling up the entire river. Every single one of these statues was a woman with a bewitching appearance and alluring body. They were all wearing thin palace dresses that showed off their beautiful bodies. All of them were doing all sorts of seductive poses. As Venerable Exion looked at these statues, his vicious eyes couldn't help but flash with fear. He mustered up his courage and shouted at the remaining demon saints behind him, "My demon energy is completely depleted, come and lend me a hand." Taking out the vase only took a few breaths worth of time, but he had already used up all of his beast energy. The remaining 6 beast saints knew that this was a crucial moment, so they all placed their hands on his body and poured all of their beast energy into him. With the help of the 6 abundant beast energy, Venerable Exion's expression changed. He formed a few hand seals at the vase, then pointed at the countless black female statues. He shouted, "Mahasvara, Mahasvara, he has become Mahasvara, all worlds Tianma bewitching women, return." The vase started to shake. The countless statues below also started to shake. Ki. A clear sound came from the vase, shaking heaven and earth. Following this sound, an invisible force seemed to be acting on the thousands of statues. The layers of black paint on the statues started to fall off. One by one, the palace-made statues came to life. Her skin was as white as snow, and her face was captivating. Her dull eyes suddenly became lively and full of spirit. As she looked around, no one could take their eyes off her. But their bodies were still as blurry as mist, unable to be seen. Thousands of maids lightly flew up, filling the sky like fairies from heaven descending to the mortal realm. 2 beautiful women flew out and nodded at Venerable Exion. They kept their mouths shut and didn't say anything, but there were billions of voices echoing in Venerable Exion's ears at the same time. "You've been in this world for 60 years, hiding as a spirit beast. Now that you're free, you've done a great service. You flatter me. It's all thanks to your hard work." Venerable Exion clasped his fist again and again, a stiff smile on his face. Seeing him like that, the 2 women didn't say anything else, turned around and flew to either side of the vase. Venerable Exion quickly stepped back. The 2 women, one on the left and one on the right, carried the vase and slowly flew towards the 3 saints of humanity. As they flew, their bodies started to grow, so did the vase. By the time they reached the forbidden area of the Black Circle, the vase was already big enough to hold the 3 saints of humanity and the 6 beast saints. At this time, a crack suddenly appeared in the void of space, letting out a sunset-like light. Within the light, indescribable screams of pain could be heard. Occasionally, terrifying figures flashed and disappeared. The 2 women used the vase to hold the 3 saints of humanity and the 6 beast saints, then flew into the light. As soon as they left, the light disappeared, the void of space also slowly closed up. Venerable Exion held his breath until now, finally couldn't help but laugh out loud. "Ah-ha-ha-ha, they're all gone. They're all gone. From now on, the 3 saints of humanity will never be seen again in this world. So simple, so easy, the 3 saints of humanity will never be able to return." He was overjoyed. "Venerable Exion, may I ask, where did the 6 beast saints go?" one of the beast saints carefully asked. Venerable Exion was in a good mood, so he answered. "They went to the Tianma realm of freedom. Don't worry, the 3 saints of humanity are dead for sure. Our people will be left behind to practice the Tianma scripture. From now on, their strength will increase by leaps and bounds. Even you and I won't be able to catch up." Hearing that, the beast saint thought for a bit, then swallowed the words he was about to say. Seeing his reaction, Venerable Exion knew that his words were enough to fool them, making him even more happy. No matter who it is, once they go to the Tianma realm of freedom, do they think they'll be able to survive? Not to mention the physical body, even the soul would be devoured cleanly. Losing 6 beast saints in exchange for the death of the 3 saints of humanity, this is quite a good deal. And the remaining beast saints, if they know what's good for them, can still become his subordinates and live comfortably. Now, it's time to reap the fruits of victory. He licked his lips, looking at the human cultivators' camp from afar. If these human cultivators were attacked by the spirit beasts they've always trusted, what kind of expression would they have? He showed a cruel smile and turned to look at the Tianma enchantresses in the sky. A Tianma enchantress nodded at him. "You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories."